Gotta make sure that I turn on my audio. Actually, I wonder if I can, because I'm not going to be playing a different game. So, can I turn my RTX voice back on and swap back over to RTX voice? Properties. No, it won't let me. Cool. Awesome. You. Wait, what about now? No. Alright, that's fine. Everything's fine. As usual, let me know if the audio is wonky, etc., etc. I had to go get more talking juice, or else my throat would have died. So yeah, we're gonna talk about the VOW previews, the ones that I haven't hit yet, and then we're gonna try. I guess it depends on how long it takes me to do this. We're gonna try to build a few decks. You're personally excited to play with Hullbreaker Horror? I mean, there's so many cool cards, like from historic decks to like commander decks, even Brawl decks that I'm thinking about. Like, this set has a lot of fun stuff in it, potentially, you know. Coolio. Cool, cool. All right. I have to turn this music down in my head, because in my head it's too loud. It's in my head. All right. Breathkeeper. By the way, if I've gone through any of these already, you know, too bad. I tried my best to weed out the ones that I've already talked about, but you know, it is what it is. Breathkeeper Seraph is a 6-mana 4/4 angel with flying and soulbound. Very interesting. Looks like we get a cycle of soulbound creatures. This one is particularly cool. As long as it is paired with another creature each of those creatures have, whenever this creature dies, you may return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of your next upkeep. So what's very interesting about this card is you get them back at the beginning of your next upkeep, right? So let's say I'm in a situation where I have Breathkeeper Seraph and one other important creature, right? But everyone else has a huge board. I can Wrath the board. I lose both of my creatures. That's true. And they don't come back until my turn, but I still haven't lost them permanently. I think it's pretty cool. Honestly, the biggest issue for this card is the fact that it's like 6-mana 4/4. If this was a 5-mana 4/4, maybe it would be too good, but like, its effect is very good. But in these weird times of Commander where freaking you're only able to really play like 2 6-drops or some nonsense. I don't. I play as many 6-drops as I want. You can't get away necessarily with playing a card like this on turn 6 and trying not to die. So I typed Kappa and got that piece of shit emote. Dude, shout out to YouTube, man. Just trash, utter trash. Not for videos. Oh, also, I need to make sure that monetization is on for this. Dude, monetization on. I need to make money. I'm very poor. Imperious Mindbreaker is a 3-mana 1/4 soulbound creature. As long as it is paired with another creature each of those creatures has, whenever this creature attacks, each opponent mills cards equal to its toughness. So this is definitely like a homage to Phoenix. Phoenix is like a 3/7 god from OG Theros block that allows you to just tap your creatures and have your opponent mill based on that tapped creature's toughness. This is less safe because of the fact that you have to attack with them as opposed to just being able to tap them by themselves. It is a 3-mana 1/4, which means maybe you can like start doing stuff early. If you're in a dedicated like Phoenix fat ass mill tribal, then this card is probably fine because it also allows you to get through. In that style of deck, you're probably also playing the Undead Alchemist, I think is the card I'm thinking of. Undead Alch. Yeah, this one. Zombie deals combat damage to player and said that they mill that many cards. So potentially you can get a nice double dip if you have a fat-ass zombie. Then you bond it with this, you attack with that fat-ass zombie. It connects, or you mill them for the fat ass, and then it connects and you mill them for some more. I can see it in that very niche deck, which is totally reasonable. I like this archetype. Doomweaver is a 6-mana 1/8. It's a 6-mana 1/8 spider horror with reach. Has soulbound. All of these do. As long as it is paired with another creature, each of those creatures has whenever this creature dies, draw cards equal to its power. So if this dies and it's paired, you draw 1 card. Which is funny, because that's not good. But the idea with this card, I think, is to play it in a deck where you probably are playing sacrifice effects, because you want to guarantee when things die, right? But also you're playing things that you want to die. So, Champ Dog Gaming, worst spider ever. There's got to be a worse spider. But like the idea, right, is you're playing maybe, instead of playing like a faster sacrifice deck where you're looking to like aristocrats out your opponent, this is a bit more slow, methodical. Maybe it's a Corvold deck that, again, isn't going too like balls to the walls with it, wants to play more of a value game. So, you know, you put a Thragtusk on this, you sacrifice it to Phyrexian Altar, whichever the altar is that you can get like two colorless mana out of, and like you cast something else, and because this is no longer soul bonded, you can rebond it with a new creature, etc., etc. So the idea, I think, is just being able to pair things onto this, sack them for like great value. It's also like a decent defender, right? It's a 1/8 with reach. It's not the best defender, but it is a 1/8. Like 8 stops a lot of things. You know, it stops a OG Bolas in the skies, right? It stops a lot of the Elder Dragons. Doesn't stop in Avacyn, but if your opponent has played Avacyn, you're probably boned. So I don't know. I like this card. For me right now, it's probably this one. You know, we'll rate them all at the end. The commander cards are not coming to Arena. That is correct. I did just want to talk about the Arena cards as well. Mirage Phalanx is a 6-mana 4/4 soulbond. As long as Mirage Phalanx is paired with another creature, each of those creatures has, at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of this creature, except it has haste and loses soulbond. Exile it at the end of combat. So essentially, this is a nuts card. Because you can get extra copies of things. Now, imagine you have this, right? You have this sweet, cool, awesome, sweet card. And then you pair it with, who cares? Frankly, who cares? But after that, you clone it. And you pair it with something else. Then you clone another one and pair it with something else. Essentially what I'm saying is, this is really fun in Riku clones, and that's where I'm gonna play it because it's really cool. It's very similar to like Splinter Twin, Zealous Conscript style thing, you know, the good old-fashioned combo. It does lose soulbond, the copy does, so I don't think that you can do major shenanigans with this card, but I still just like what it is. As was pointed out in the chat, you can play things like Parallel Lives or Anointed Procession to make double the clones. It's fun. Apparently it's good in Brutaclad as well. I know of that Mir, or Mir, as it's allegedly supposed to be pronounced. But yeah, I mean, this is just a really fun card. And for what it's worth, I think all of these cards so far have been more on the side of fun as opposed to broken. And I definitely want to say, I prefer when the cards Wizards makes for Commander are fun as opposed to busted. Oh, yay. I'm being reminded in the comments, or in the chat, that it can pair with Combat Celebrant and take infinite turns. Although there's probably other ways to abuse that card anyway, so. Thundering Nightmare. 5 mana 3/3. Ugh. Horse Spirit, soulbound. As long as it is paired with another creature each of those creatures has, whenever an opponent casts a spell, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. Now, this is an ability we've seen a ton of times before. I call it the Turian Mauler ability. Let me just make sure. Oh, ooh, this is worse than the Turian Mauler ability. For those of you who don't know, Tor Maul. Whenever. Oh wait, isn't there one? Mana Gorger. Okay, yeah, I think I'm thinking of Mana Gorger. Yeah, whenever a player casts a spell, put a 1/1 counter on it. So this is the better version, technically. But yeah, no, this is the Sag version. It just means that you can't buff them themselves. Also, like one of the issues with this, right, is so let's say, with the Seraph, if she dies, she'll come back, right, and you can pair her with something else. If the other creature dies, it can come back. You can pair it with something else. Or yeah, you don't have to pair it with this, so you can pair the Seraph with something else. With the Mindbreaker, you're attacking with this, so it's possible that it's going to die, and therefore you can pair it with something else pretty easily. The Spider, as I said, I think that you are playing this in a deck that you want to sacrifice the creature to pair this with something else. The Mirage Phalanx, you're wanting to attack. If your other creature dies, you can pair it with something else. This one, though, feels a little bit worse, because you can't blink it. You can't like if one of them dies, yes, you can pair with something else, but you've lost the value essentially, because the value here is just getting counters, whereas the value on the other ones, like the Angel, you're essentially getting reanimation, right? The blue one's about milling, like that's the extra stuff. Black one, you get to draw cards. The red one, you get actual copies of creatures. That could be ETB effects if you're sacrificing them. It could be dies effects as well. Yada yada yada. But you're getting that stuff, and it kind of stays there, right? Not stays there, but it like has a prolonged thing here. Nightmare just feels worse than those, because since you're getting counters on them, they kind. I mean, yeah, you could. So in the chat, I've been reminded that the Ozolith exists. That's true. That's definitely true. But it's still like you have to have another thing. But like essentially what I'm saying is like this doesn't have an easy way to unpair, still have the value, and like repair it. It's still fine though. I think it's the one I like the least. I think my favorite is the red one, followed by black, white, green, blue, I think. And the blue one, as I said, like I like the blue one. I like the design. I just it's not my style. Hollow Henge Overlord is a very interesting wolf. It's a 6 mana, 4/4. For some reason, $30. I don't know why. I doubt that's going to maintain. 6 mana, 4/4 Flash Wolf. At the beginning of your upkeep, for each creature you control that's a wolf or werewolf, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. So let's just say, okay, I have 3 wolves/werewolves. I pass the turn. It becomes night. I flip my wolves. Or my werewolves, whatever. At the end of my opponent's turn, I flash this in. I have 4 wolves or werewolves. On my turn, at the beginning of my upkeep, I make 4 more wolves. Now let's say I'm not even playing like a normal werewolf deck, right? I'm playing something stupid, because I've added blue. I now have additional upkeeps. I have Paradox Haze. I have what's that stupid card called? The Sphinx. The Sphinx from the Commander set. That's actually I think it's from a Commander set. That's a Bolas Sphinx. Like it's a Sphinx of the Hours or something. No, it's not. It gives you an extra beginning phase, right? You have that. You have a bunch of like token clones. And you're just going buck wild with this card. I love that style. But also, it's a wolf with flash. We need more cards with flash in the werewolf deck, because we want to be able to flip our wolves consistently. Yada yada yada. This card is fun. For what it's worth, it's not half, right? Like, this is also a 1-card army. You can flash this in at the end of someone's turn. You know, maybe someone board wiped or whatever. Oh no, you lost your wolves. You flash this in. It can slowly rebuild your board without you needing to add creatures to it. So at this point, like, you play this, you get another wolf. You can play some enchantment lords, or some enchantment things that matter. You can play planeswalkers, right? You can do things that don't add to your creature board, while still adding to your actual board. So I think this is actually pretty cool. I think we need fewer threats with flash full stop. I mean, generally I agree, because a lot of flash has been annoying. Umbrous Fear Manifest is sick. 5 mana, 1/1, Nightmare Horror. Umbrous gets +1/+1 for each card your opponents own in exile. It's a little unfortunate that you can't have your own things. It means it doesn't work really nicely with flashback, jumpstart, that type of thing. But, you know, maybe it'd be too good if it counted your own stuff in exile. Whenever it or another nightmare or horror enters the battlefield under your control, target opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a land. Now, I have an EDH deck that is head up by Rexiel. It is a Lovecraftian horror theme deck. On the previous spoiler video, I talked about replacing Rexiel with Runo. But now, I kind of want to replace it with Umbrous. Because it's really cool, and it exiles some cards. Now the thing is, right? Let's do Commander blue black type Eldrazi. So you notice we have some Eldrazi in these colors. One that's a horror that's not exactly what I can play. Yeah, not seeing a lot of horrors is the thing. That said, obviously I'm still playing horrors in the deck. I'm still playing horrors and nightmares. You know, I had Abyssal Gatekeeper at some point, but you know, I have some of these cards, the good ones. Chasm Skulker, obviously. I'll probably won't put that in there. Consuming Aberration, it's got to be in there, obviously. So you know, you have a couple of these, a couple of horrors in there. It's not bad. But it's not a horror deck, you know? So I have to figure out what I want to do with this, because it's pretty awesome. Query has pointed out in the chat, Arcane Adaptation and Maskwood Nexus are both things that say hi. There's actually another card that's showing my age, which is... crap. No, I don't remember what it's called. Damn it. I think it's Cooperation? That's not it. It's Conspiracy. I'm stupid. Hey, it's Conspiracy. Hey, it's Conspiracy, baby. This is another thing, right? So, for what it's worth, Maskwood Nexus and Arcane Adaptation are both cards that I could reasonably play in that deck. Didgeridoo, get out. Ashioks are in that deck, right? So I think this is just a really sick card. You can make it in a bunch of ways. You can make it just like a Turbo Mill your opponent deck. You can make it a Nightmare Horror theme deck. I mean, hell, like you have Leyline of the Void in here. You know, a bunch of cool things like that. I just think this card is really fun and interesting, and scales really nicely. Because once things are in exile, they tend to stay in there. Whereas if this card like had +1/+1 for each card in your opponent's graveyards, that can change a number of ways. Note how it doesn't say non-token. Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true. It's cool. Anyway, let's get to the actual Crimson Vow cards. For a lot of these, I will just be saying, cool, limited card, let's move on. Actually, technically should be Xing these as I go along, because there are a lot of cards here. Angelic Quartermaster, 5-mana 3/3 Angel that enters and puts a 1/1 counter of each of up to 2 other target creatures. Now, if this didn't say other, it would be a 5-mana 4/4 flyer that buffed one of your creatures, and that would be sick. The fact that it says other does make it a little bit weaker. However, you know, 5-mana 3/3 flyer with upside is probably going to be decent enough in limited. Good card. Arm the Cathars. Until every turn, target creature gets +3/+3, another one gets +2/+2, and another one gets +1/+1. They gain vigilance. I think this card is very interesting. The fact that it's sorcery hampers it a little, obviously, but if this thing didn't say sorcery, it would be nuts. Like, if this was an instant, this card would be busted AF. At the very least, in limited, it'd be busted AF. As it is, like, this is still a +6/+6 to your team, and gives them vigilance, such that you can, I don't know, attack and block. I really like this card. You can divvy it up in a number of ways, making it, like, one creature super big, and then you have a slightly smaller creature, and then like you just give your Piddlywink a 1/1, or you can even it out more. So like if you have a 1/1, a 2/2, and a 3/3, you can make 3 4/4s essentially. I really like the card, and as was pointed out in the chat, this is a +3/+3. This is a +2/+2. And this is a dagger. It's very funny. Cool card. Bride's Gown. It's a 2-mana equip 2. Equip creature gets +2/+0. It gets an additional +0/+2 and has first strike as long as it as you control an equipment named Groom's Finery. And it's it has to be attached as well. Oh, I thought it was you just control it. Oh, this makes me sad. I mean, it's not terrible as limited equipment goes. Again, I'm gonna always say that I like when WotC puts colors into the equipment. I think they can make them slightly better that way. You know, I mean, just +2/+0 is probably fine. You're not picking it early, but you know, it's a 22nd, 23rd card, something like that. And then if you can get first strike on it, it's probably pretty decent. I'll just talk about the Groom's Finery right now. Also, like same stats essentially, except instead of first strike, you get Death Touch. I guess I would maybe have preferred it. No. I was gonna say maybe it would be better if like these were switched so that like the Bride's Gown was +0/+2 and then +2/+0. But then I realized like that would make the white one just worse, and I don't want the white one to be just worse. Decent cards. If you can get them both and you're playing some sort of black-white vampire deck or something, and you're trying to play themes in limited, have fun. Circle of Confinement. Oh, it has a Dracula one. I was wondering why this number was so high. 2-mana enchantment. As it enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or less until it leaves the battlefield. Whenever an opponent casts a vampire spell with the same name as a card exiled with Circle of Confinement, you gain 2 life. This is probably just, you know, limited removal and or sideboard fodder if vampires become a huge thing in standard. Again, I kind of dislike an opponent controls. I like being able to target my own things, but whatever. Distracting Geist. It's a 3-mana 2/1, doesn't fly. When I saw this card at first, I was like, 3-mana 2/1 that flies. That's pretty decent. We've seen cards like that before. Nope, doesn't fly. When it attacks, tap target creature defending player controls. It wants to be aggressive, right? Like this, it doesn't keep them tapped, doesn't freeze them. It just taps them down. So this wants to be aggressive. But it's a 2/1 with no evasion. Whatever. So we transform it. Whenever this creature attacks, tap target creature defending player controls. It's 5 mana, but if you're getting to that point in the game, maybe it's a little bit better, right? But as is, meh. Estwald Shieldbasher, 4-mana 4/2. I don't like 4-mana 4/2s. They die to 2/2s, or 2 drops. Whenever it attacks, you may pay 1. If you do, it gains indestructible until end of turn. That's better. It is better, but it's not a Danto Vanguard. It's not the other 3/1 who's Seasoned Hollowblade, I think is the name. Great art by Wayne Reynolds, but essentially Faithbound Judge. It's very interesting. It's a 3-mana 4/4 Defender Flying Vigilance. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Faithbound Judge has 2 or fewer judgment counters on it, put a judgment counter on it. As long as it has 3 or more judgment counters on it, it can attack as though it didn't have Defender. Essentially, after 3 turns of this being around, or you know, 1 turn or 2 turns or whatever, and you proliferate or something like that, sure. This becomes a 4/4 Flying Vigilance creature. That's not bad. But it's mythic. I mean, yeah, it's, you know, it's a bit complicated, complex. On the flip side, though, it becomes a curse called Sinner's Judgment. Sick. Sure, it's 7 to cast, but who cares? At the beginning of your upkeep, put a judgment counter on Sinner's Judgment. Then, if there are 3 or more judgment counters on it, enchanted player loses the game. I love this card. Hear me out. You play a really stupid deck that, like, maybe it's like a Esper deck, relatively controlling. You don't even really play this for the creature. You have some cards that like allow you to discard or mill yourself or whatever. You also have some sort of mana ramp, even though you're playing Esper, so it's probably going to be Artifact. And then you cast this, and you proliferate it, and then your opponent dies. And I just find that super funny. I just find it super funny. I love this card. Fierce Retribution is a 2-mana instant. Destroy target attacking creature. You know, this is a staple of common white removal in Limited. You get to destroy an attacking or sometimes blocking creature for relatively cheap, but I guess you've also seen like destroy target tapped creature, and it isn't instant. So this is still good removal in Limited, right? Like this is still fine. I actually think this is relatively decent. It has to be on the upkeep trigger though. I know. That's fine. You do shade in response. You know, like this is pretty decent in Limited because there are going to be some times when creatures your opponents play aren't there to attack. Most of the time, they're there to attack. If you get to a point where you can just cleave it and destroy something else, that's good too. I don't cleave on this card. I think is fine because the baseline card is fine white removal in Limited. Fleeting Spirit is a 2-mana 3/1. Oh, cool. Pay 1, exile 3 cards from your graveyard. It gains first strike until end of turn. Discard a card, exile Fleeting Spirit, return to the battlefield under someone's control at the beginning of the next end step. So this card has ways of making it survive combat by giving it first strike. It also has ways to protect it from rats. So this is trying to be a Seasoned Hollowblade style card. You have to exile 3 cards from your graveyard. And discard. I mean, the discard is probably not terrible. I'm glad that it's just 3 cards. Yeah, I'm not sure. Look, I don't play normal white weenie. I don't play aggressive white weenie. I play Death and Taxes, which was a controlling white weenie deck. Control weenie, if you will. It feels a little steep, right? Like Adonta Vanguard, Seasoned Hollowblade, and I think there's one more card that has a very similar effect. All of those have relatively low costs for their ability to do things, but I just don't know if it's good enough. Although maybe you just play all of the 2-mana like 3/1 style things. Who knows? Griffwing Cavalry is a 4-mana flying 2/2 knight. I mean, it also has training. Like 4-mana flyer 2/2 is fine. You know, it's no Windrake. It's not a 3-mana flying 2/2, but that's training. So you can attack with something that, like the last card that we saw, the free one. And what's nice is that when you attack, you can give that 3/1 flying, so that it doesn't, doesn't die. So you get to go ahead and train on this, make it a 3/3. Then it has flying. Like even if you don't train it any more than 3/3, I still think it's a pretty decent card here. If you're going for flying in Limited, I don't see why this isn't terrible. Or training, I guess. Heron of Hope, 4-mana 2/3 flyer. Interesting. If you would gain life, you gain that much life +1. This is very similar to Angelic something, that 3-mana card from a while ago, except this is 4-mana. This is 2/3, but also it doesn't get bigger. However, it can give itself lifelink, which is pretty nice. If you are... The thing is, I don't know if this is as good. It'll always be a 2/3. Although, you could go like this into the Angel to give this a counter on it. You know, that's a thing. That's a possibility. Yeah, it's probably fine in Limited. I don't know. Heron Blessed Geist, 5-mana, 3/3 flying. Exile it from your graveyard. Create 2 1/1s with flying. Activate only if you control an enchantment. It really depends on if the enchantments are worth playing in Limited. If it is, I think this card's probably going to be pretty good. 5-mana 3/3 flyer seems fine, maybe. But really, the impact here is the fact that you can yeet it from your graveyard for extra value. So once it dies, you can get extra stuff from it, and those things also can fly. So Hopeful Initiate is a strange card to me. Very creepy art here. I am scared. It's a 1-mana 1/2 Human Warlock with training. You can pay 3 and remove 2 counters from among creatures you control. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Now this is very interesting, because you get to remove them from among your creatures. So, if this has no counters, but you have another creature with 2 counters, you can eat those counters, destroy something. Or you have 1 on this, 1 on something else, you can eat those counters, destroy something. It's very interesting, and as a 1-mana 1/2, it's possible that it will be able to attack and to get at least 1 counter on it. Now, this card probably could be played in a green-white counters deck in Historic, right? Possibly, because you can play this and then you play the Conclave Mentor, which is hilarious because it's called Mentor. Then you attack with this in Mentor. The Mentor would put a single counter on the trainee, but instead you can put 2 counters on the trainee, which is pretty sick. So you'd be attacking with this as a freaking 3/4, right? That's not bad. That's really not bad. I mean, yeah, then you could like immediately use it to destroy an artifact or enchantment, and then get the training again, right? I think it's very cool. It would probably not get super big long term in that style of deck, but once you get it to like a 3/4, like if you trigger that training once or twice, it's good, right? It's a 1-mana 3/3, 3/4 or 2/3. So I think this card's probably going to be pretty interesting. Maybe if we can fit cards in that build. Catilda, Dawnheart Martyr, is a 3-mana legendary creature Spirit Warlock, because she fucking died. Flying, lifelink, protection from vampires. I guess the protection from werewolves didn't work very well last time. Her power and toughness each equal to the number of permanents you control that are spirits and or enchantments. A lot of interesting overlap with that. I have a Daxos deck, the Returned enchantment deck, whose spirits are, fun fact, also enchantments. So this card would possibly be decent in there. Yeah, so she minimum is a 1/1 with flying, lifelink, and protection from vampires, but she can obviously be quite larger. She also has a relatively reasonable disturb cost at only 5 mana to become Rising Dawn. Enchant creature, it has flying, lifelink, protection from vampires, and +X/+X, where X is the number of permanents you control that are spirits and or enchantments. Now, this is an enchantment, so once again, minimum, you're getting a +1/+1 on the creature that you have. Like, bare minimum, that's what you're getting. If the creature you're putting this on is a spirit as well, that's a +2/+2. Right, it's very, very interesting. Why Dying lost her green? She's a martyr now? I don't know. Lantern Flare is a weird card. 2 mana. Lantern Flare deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain X life. X is the number of creatures you control. This is instant. It can hit planeswalkers, which is quite nice. Can't hit face. That's fine. Honestly, this card, even if you do something else with it, I probably just shouldn't hit face. But I think this is a reasonable card. I don't think it'll see play in Constructed. I mean, like, no, the fact that it can't hit face at all, I think means that it can't. It won't see play in Constructed. It's very decent, like, in idea in a go wide white deck, because you could ignore one of your opponent's planeswalkers, kill it with this, and then just hit your opponent in the face with the creatures. But you don't really get anything out of the cleave cost in that style of deck. I guess, like, yeah, this is weird, right? So I think the problem I have with this card is that both of its sides are doing 2 different things, right? This doesn't feel like a card that is one card that can be enhanced, right? This feels like one card that has another card you could choose instead, right? If you're paying X, you're going to want to have a lot of mana. In a deck that has a lot of mana that only wants to kill creatures or planeswalkers, you're probably going to be a little bit more on the control side, which means you're probably not going to have as many creatures. So you're like, in certain decks, you're never going to play this as 2 mana. In other decks, you're never going to play this as cleave. So, I don't know. It feels too disparate. I could be super wrong, though. Militia Rallier is a 3-mana 3/3 that can't attack alone. Whenever it does attack, untap target creature. Essentially, you can give her, or the creature attacking with her, or any other creature, pseudo-vigilance. That's cool, that's fun, tucka. We've seen cards like this before. I feel like most of them have been in red, interestingly. Yeah, I mean, 3 mana for a 3/3 in white is probably going to be fine, especially since it gives pseudo vigilance. You're going to be wanting to attack with a lot of creatures anyway in those colors. Yeah. Nebelgast Beguiler is a 5 mana 2/5, and it doesn't fly, which means it's trash. Like, I do love the Ballynook Tapper ability, the Trapper, I should say. I do like those, but when they're at 5 mana on the creature, I just can't see a world in which this is like gonna help. Additionally, a 2/5 stat line makes me think that you want to block with this, right? Like 5, decent amount of toughness. Why not just block? Oh, but they could attack with like a super big creature. Oh, and then you tap it. Okay, cool. This cost you 5 mana, and you had to have an additional mana to use on the next turn. This card feels bad. If it flew, maybe. If it flew and was like a 1/5 even, but the fact that it has no evasion, so you won't be able to kill your opponent anyway. It doesn't seem as good. It costs 5 mana and then to tap a creature. I don't like it. Nurturing Presence. It's a 2 mana enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It enters the battlefield, creates a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. So this card's bad, I think. I don't see a world in which this is not a bad card. When it enters, essentially, like it comes with that immediate +1/+1 because of the spirit. And also, you have to take into account that it comes with the spirit. So you could kind of look at it as like a 2 mana spirit that ETBs, gives a creature a +1/+1. But just the fact that this doesn't stick, or like the fact that there's no eternal boost, it's not just like enchanted creature has +1/+1. Enchanted creature has whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, this creature gets, even if it's just like +1/+0, right? Just something that lasts on it. Or hell, even just give it like Nurturing Presence. Enchanted creature has +0/+1. That's like baseline, and then you get the +1/+1, right? I feel like this card doesn't do enough for the risk of playing enchantments. Allenbach Escort is a 1 mana 1/1 vigilance. Sacrifice it, target creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it, gains lifelink indestructible until end of turn. So if you're playing a deck in which you have lifelink counters, or 1/1 counters, I should say, then cool, you can save a creature. It's similar to Selfless Savior, except Selfless Savior can save anything. It doesn't have to have a 1/1 counter on it. Oh no, it doesn't gain lifelink. How often is that going to matter? It'll matter sometimes, don't get me wrong, but how often is that going to matter? I don't like it. Panicked Bystander's hilarious card. Real effed up. 2 mana, Human Peasant, 2/2. Enters the battlefield. Oh, excuse me. Whenever it or another creature dies, you gain 1. Beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, transform it. It turns into Cackling Culprit. Whenever it or another creature you control dies, you gain 1 life. And 2 mana, it gains Death Touch. It is a 3/5. It's not hard to gain 3 life in a turn. You can't do it on turn 2. But I think you could do it on turn 3. Right, turn 1, you play a Soul Sister. Turn 2. Yeah, turn 2, you play another Soul Sister style effect. You could even just play the 2 mana 2/2 Garbo dude that like is a Orator or something like that. And then on turn 3, you play a 1/1, doesn't matter which, and then you play this, and you're like, ha ha ha, end of turn, I have a 3/5. That can gain Death Touch. I don't know, it's memey, but it's fun. Deal. Perish Blade Training is a 2 mana 1/2 with training, and when it dies, you put its counters on a creature you control. It's interesting, but even in the +1/+1 counter deck, I'm not sure if it's great. You can do some fun things with this and the Ozolith, because the way the Ozolith works, it doesn't like care about the actual counters that were placed on it. You place those counters on it, but like you just place the same number. So you have the Ozolith out, you have this out, and she's been training. Then she dies. You get, let's say she has 3 training counters. She has 3 1/1 counters. You put 3 on the Ozolith, but you can also put 3 on another creature you control. So if that creature dies, you now have 6 on the Ozolith. Yada yada yada. It has some interesting synergy there. I don't think it's good enough by itself to be put into a green-white X counters deck. Piercing Light, 1 mana instant, deals 2 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Scry 1. I mean, like, it's in White's color pie, as I've said earlier, like, destroying, attacking, or blocking creatures. It is 1 mana, but, like, 2 mana, or 2 damage feels so low. So incredibly low. Like, if this were 3 damage, no scry, because, like, it's still only restricted to attacking and blocking creatures. Would that be too good removal in limited? Maybe? But, like, 2 damage feels so low. I don't know, you get to scry. You get to scry. The thing is, okay, this is something that I didn't actually, like, take into consideration. You can use this in conjunction with the creature that is attacking or blocking the opponent's creature to actually kill it. I think that's probably fine. Yeah, this is probably fine. Wait, Impec time. Oh yeah, this card's worse though. It's just 2 mana and no scry. This, I think, after reconsidering it, also, it allows you to hit your own creature, which is great. I love that. You can hit your own creature. That's awesome. Radiant Grace. It's a single white enchantment. Gets +1/+0 and has vigilance. When it dies, return it to the battlefield transformed. And it transforms into Radiant Restraints. Enchant player, it's another curse. Creatures enchanted player controls enter the battlefield tapped. Now, the thing is... Right, the thing is... This card, kind of cool. Similar to Authority of the Consuls, except it comes with the beginning as a creature buff. But it's when the enchanted creature dies. So if the enchanted creature is exiled and this just falls into the graveyard, or if someone just destroys Radiant Grace, you don't get the flip. So that's bad. If this was just whenever, like, if this enchantment goes to the graveyard, which understandably makes it a stronger card, but like, if someone's jumping through hoops to get this effect, then they're dumb and they don't realize that, like, or they're playing standard, I guess. They don't realize you can just play a better card. Resistance Squad. 3 mana 3/2, enters the battlefield if you control another human, draw a card. Cool. This card is white card draw, limited, humans, sure. Sanctify. 2 mana, destroy target artifact or enchantment. You gain 3 life. It's a sorcery speed card, but it does what it needs to do, I guess. Sigarda's Imprisonment. This is a story spotlight, and it's incredibly rude. How dare you touch Sigarda. 3 mana, enchant creature can't attack or block. Then you can play 5 mana, exile enchanted creature, and create a blood token. So you stop it for now, right? You pacifism it for now. A little overcosted. 3 mana instead of 2. But what happens is later on you can just exile it and you make a blood token. If you need a pacifism, this is a pacifism. Supernatural Rescue is a 4 mana enchantment that has flash if you control spirit. When you cast a spell, tap up to 2 target creatures you don't control. Enchant creature you control. Enchanted creature gets +1/+2. So it's very interesting. You can use this offensively by, you tap down the 2 target creatures. You do get a small bonus to power. Or, obviously, your opponent is potentially trying to attack into you. They have 3 creatures. You tap the 2 biggest ones, and now the creature you attach this to can block the last one. So, there's uses for this card. Probably one of the better white enchantments in this set that we've seen so far. Driving Minister, another 1 mana, 1/1. Target creature gets +1/+0, activate until end of turn, you gain 1 life, activate only as a sorcery. The fact that this is activate only as a sorcery means this card is garbage. I guess it is another way to just gain 1 life. And people are playing a worse card, right? Like Soul something. There's a lot of cards with Soul in it. God damn it. Let's sort by mana value. Soulmender, yeah, people are playing Soulmender. Like I've absolutely seen people play Soulmender. So I mean, Soulmender you can use at instant speed, which means you can do tricks. Man, I don't know. This buffs a creature, although, well, I guess it can buff itself. I don't know. It's similar. If you want to play one or the other, do it. They're both trash. Twin Blade Geists. It's a 2 mana 1/1 with double strike. I mean, we've seen 2 mana 1/1s with double strike before. It's a warrior, which is a reasonable creature type. Spirit, again, a creature type that matters. The disturb cost is also not terrible, and it turns into thing that gives your creature double strike. Honestly, Honestly, this isn't a bad card. It's probably not good enough for constructed. Frankly, I should say it's not good enough for constructed, but people find ways. But I actually don't think this card's bad. I think it's one of the better new disturb like enchantment cards. Yeah, I think this card's pretty fun. Unholy Efficient. It's another 1 mana white card. It's a 1/2. It has Vigilance, sure. And then 5 mana, put a 1/1 counter on it. Okay. And? I mean, I get, like, in the late game, it's not as bad of a top deck. But at the same time, it's a 1 mana 1/2. Why are you putting this in your deck? I guess maybe if you're playing, like, super low to the ground white weenie aggro in draft, this is good. I don't see this anywhere in sealed, like, at all. Even though sealed is generally slower. Nah. Vampire Slayer. It's a 2 minute. It's a bear. It's a bear that deals damage to a vampire. Destroy that creature. Like, give her first strike. Boom. She just kills vampires. Awesome. Cool. Sweet. Awesome. Limited card. It's a bear. We get some pretty funny here now. Welcoming Vampire. It's a 3 mana 2/3. Where have we seen those stat lines before? Wizards. Death and Taxes has a lot of 3-drops. Please give us really great, like amazing 4-drops, and then a few more like good 1 and 2-drops. Please, we have so many 3-drops we can't handle anymore. Anyway, whenever one or more other creatures with power 2 or less enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. That's all that matters. That is all that matters. This is all that matters. Who cares? Who cares? You get to replace every card you draw in a Death and Taxes deck. This is nuts. This is amazing. The thing is, we have so many fucking 3-drops. How? How do you fit this in? It's possible. It's possible that you play this in the sideboard to bring it against control decks, where you want those extra cards, or maybe not even control decks because you're going to be too sad. They're going to kill your stuff, counter it, blah, blah, blah. You bring it against mid-range, where you need a little bit more of that gas. Maybe. Sure, I could see it. I love this card. I want all of you to know that I love this card. And I will be trying it somewhere in Death and Taxes. Because, as I've said 1,000 times, one of Death and Taxes' biggest weakness, besides big F-off creatures, is running out of resources. And this card keeps the resources flowing while still being a decent body. A 3-mana flying 2/3. I love it. I love it so much. I just love it's great. You play a Thalia, bada bing, bada boom. You play Archon of Emeria, bada boom. You play a Skyclave Apparition, remove one of their things, draw a card, bada boom. I love it. Clearly aggro decks need more gas. Well, I'm not thinking about aggro, okay? Because I'm too busy living in Death and Taxes land, where it isn't an aggro deck, but annoying things are sad. Crap. I've not seen this alternate art, and I don't know which one I like more, because I like both of them. Also, oh my gosh, she's magically pouring the blood wine. I assume it's blood wine, not just normal blood, into the cups. This is, but then again, like this is like sick garb. I love the spikes. It's not fair. It's just not fair. It's so awesome. Onto the blue, finally. How long have we been here? Of course, I can't really tell, because YouTube sucks. Anyway, Alchemist Retrieval. It's a blue instant. Return target non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. Cleave it for 2. I mean, this is very reasonable. We've seen a bunch of these style effects before where it's literally just 2 mana, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Right? Like, we've just seen that for 2 mana. This is slightly different, where you can bounce one of your own creatures for cheaper, or you can save it. I think this card is totally fine. It's a side grade to a bunch of other cards. I think that's cool. Binding Geist, 3 mana, 3/1, doesn't fly. Stop it. When it attacks target creature an opponent controls, it gets -2/-0 until end of turn. Sure, cool, yeah, that's fine. I guess it makes up for the flying a little bit. And then of course, enchanted creature gets -2/-0. You bind your opponent's stuff. Can you? Yeah, okay. You can enchant your own thing if you want. Yeah, sure, cool. Yep, This is fine. It's not bad. It's not good. It can't be killed by a 2x, which is nice. You know, it doesn't die to a grizzly bear. So that's helpful. It'll at least take out a 3 power creature. Or 3 toughness creature. Because it could be a 3 power, like 2 toughness creature. Yeah, I don't, man. It's fine. I think it's fine. Cemetery Illuminator. First of all, this art, fucking sick. Second of all, 3 mana, 2/3 spirit, flies, love it. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, exile a card from a graveyard, not your a. Enters the battlefield or attacks, exile a card from a graveyard. Already, right there, you could have stopped, printed, would have been fine. Right? It's great. It's graveyard hate. It's good graveyard hate. You can even exile your own stuff if you're worried about your opponent stealing it. Good. Cool. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. Also, for what it's worth, not bad. This allows you to plan ahead. You know what you're going to be drawing. You can decide when to fetch. You can make certain attacks based on what you know about the top of your deck. Cool, awesome, sweet. Yep, cool, sick. Once each turn, you may cast a spell from the top of your library if it shares a card type with a card exiled with Cemetery Illuminator. So now, not only do you have access to the knowledge of that card, you might have access to that card. Obviously, it's cast. You can't play a land. But this is sick. You bring this in against, you know, some stupid deck that does slightly care about its graveyard. You exile a creature. On the top, you find a cool oh yes. Okay. So on your turn, there's a creature on top of your library. You play it. Let's say it's a Supreme Phantom or whatever. But oh, this is once each turn, not once on your turn. Do you know what some spirits have? Some spirits have flash. Oh, also, if you're just playing this, oh no. I've been reminded in the chat by Christine here that I'm only thinking in terms of like fun decks. You could exile potentially your own instant, and then you can cast counter spells from the top of your library. Cool. No, cool. It's great. It's cool. It's cool. Too many 3-drops and spirits in older formats? Yeah, probably. But I think they're fine with it, really. I mean, you could potentially play. Man, you could play this in. I don't know. Maybe you can play this in mono blue tempo. I hate it. I hate it now. I loved it before. I hate it now. Chill of the Grave. 3-mana instant. Costs 1 less to cast if you control a zombie. Tap target creature. Doesn't freeze a creature. Draw a card. Cool. I mean, this card's just fine and limited. I think you get to freeze a creature. And you draw a card. You know, freeze creature, draw a card. That's probably fine for 3 mana anyway. And then it just costs 2 if you have a zombie. Yeah, that's probably fine. Cobbled Lancer. Speaking of zombies, this should have been a snow instant, according to chat. I'm inclined to agree. Cobbled Lancer. 1 mana, 3/3 zombie horse. As an additional cost to cast a spell, exile a creature card from your graveyard. Exile a Cobbled Lancer from your graveyard, draw a card. Now, this is very similar to the other stitched cards from OG Innistrad, where you had to exile creatures, I believe, from your graveyard. What is it? Stitched Scab? No. Oh, it's Stitch Wing Scab, I think. Stitch Wing Scab. No. I hate my life. I don't remember what it is. There's like a dumb flying thing that I'm thinking of. No. No, I'm stupid. Whatever. Look, as there's no cost to cast this, you gotta exile a card. Just no cost to cast this, you gotta exile a card. Blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm talking about, alright? Shut up. Anyway, like, if it's a 1 mana 3/3, it's interesting. You get to draw a card out of it. It's probably not terrible and limited. Like, even though it's a 1-drop, it's probably fine. Right? You're going to have stuff die because it's limited. You just yeet it. And then if it dies, first of all, it's a 3/3. And if it dies, you can use it to draw a card. I think this card's fine. At least in limited. I hate babies. This baby is ugly. Cradle of Safety. Enchanted creature you control has flash, enters the battlefield, gains hexproof until end of turn. Enchanted creature +1/+1. Yeah, cool. I hate these cards. There's another card that's like a 2-mana flash enchantment. Also gives hexproof. These cards, I hate them. He remembered his glasses? Yeah, I remember my glasses. Shut up. Cruel Witness. 4 mana, 3/3 flying bird horror. Got a lot of eyes. Can't help but notice it has a lot of... Oh my god, there's people hanging in the background. There are literal people hanging in the background. Awkward. Flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, look at the top card of your library, you may put that card into your graveyard. I mean, I legitimately don't know if this is any... Like, if this ability is wanted and constructed anywhere, but it's a 4 mana flying 3/3 in limited. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, that's just straight fine. Diver Scab. Drag you down. 5 mana 3/5. Exploit. When it exploits a creature, target creature's owner puts it on the top or bottom of their library. I'm a little sad this only can target creatures, but I understand if it didn't target creatures, it'd be probably too good. 5 mana 3/5 with upside in limited. It's maybe fine. I don't think it's very good though. Dreadlight Monstrosity is a 6 mana 5/5 crab horror with Ward 2, and for 5 mana, it can't be blocked this turn. Activate only if you own a card in exile. I guess this works with the horse exiling a card from your graveyard. What's nice is that this isn't super terrible in terms of like you can still attack and block with this without like needing to control a thing with exile, like a lot of that Garbo things. Yeah, no, it's cool. It's fine. Just gonna 5/5 that will likely have that ability. Yeah, it seems fine. Dream Shackle Geist is a 3 mana 3/1 flying spirit. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose up to 1. Tap target creature. Target creature doesn't untap during its control's next untap step. Ha 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 ha. I'm going to tap down your only flyer and then hit you in the air for 3. Next turn, I'm going to tap down your only flyer and hit you in the air for 3. I'm going to play another one of these. Tap down your only flyer. Keep that tapped. Attack you in the air for 3. Oh, your flyer still tapped down? I'll keep that one tapped down, but I'll also tap down another one of your creatures. And I'll attack. Your flyer still tapped down? Keep that tapped down. Oh, another creature? Tapped. I like what this card is, but I hate what this card does. Fear of Death. Ooh! 2 mana enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, mill 2 cards. Enchanted creature gets -X, -O, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. Yeah, sure. It doesn't kill the creature, which is sad. It's blue. It shouldn't kill the creature, but yeah, it's whatever. Hullbreaker Horror. Hello! 7 mana, 7/8. 7 mana, 7/8. With flash, and it can't be countered. You'll love to see it. Whenever you cast a spell, choose up to 1. Return target spell you don't control to its owner's hand, or return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Now, I'm pretty sure the reason it's... So a lot of times I'll say, I wish you could target your own things, right? I've said that in this overview already. The reason I don't say it here is because it could lead to a situation where you can just cast the same spell over and over and over again. So let's say I cast a 0 mana spell, like Mox Amber. I cast that, it's on the stack, this triggers. I choose this one. I target the Mox Amber. This trigger resolves. Mox Amber goes back to my hand. I can cast it again. And I keep doing that. Now, by its own, that's not a problem necessarily. I'd run out my own clock. Sure, whatever. But when paired with anything else that gets value from you casting spells, especially if it's an artifact like Saheeli, I now have an infinite way of doing that. But you might be saying, but Justin, this is a 7 mana card. Yeah, I mean, Wizards just want... I think this is Wizards wanting to make sure they don't accidentally print something that's stupid broken. In the situation I mentioned, not very broken. It's probably fine, to be honest. But I think this is Wizards just trying to cover their asses, which is fair. I mean, I love this card. I just love this card. It's sick. It's sick. It's cool. Yeah, no, this is awesome. I need to remake a Campy counter deck. Inspired idea. Speaking of, 3-mana sorcery. Draw 3 cards. Your maximum hand size is reduced by 3 for the rest of the game, or you can pay 5 to draw 3 cards. And that's it. I'm pretty sure we've seen 3-mana draw 3 cards set mechanic in a lot of situations. We saw one with Azorius, the precognition thing. We saw Graven Lore, which was a snow version. I think it drew 3, but I'm not entirely sure. Oh my god, Christine pointed out, Hullbreaker allows you to soft counter epiphanies with considers. That's funny. It depends on what your deck is trying to do. Because typically, when you are playing a card that allows you to draw a lot of cards, typically you're gonna want to have a hand full of cards. But if you're playing a deck that wants to go through a lot of cards and doesn't care if they're in your hand or in your graveyard, then this might be fine. If you have no hand size, technically speaking, this clause does nothing. But if you have no hand size, you have no hand size. Oh, unless you mean you have no maximum hand size. I think that's based on timestamps. I legitimately don't know. Hey, look, it's Jacob. It's a guy on Innistrad, just named Jacob. Sure, Hawken is an interesting last name, but his name is just Jacob. He's just a guy. It's just a guy who's an inspector. 2-mana, 0/2. Draw a card, then exile a card from your hand face down. You may look at that card for as long as it remains exiled. You may pay 6 mana. If you do, transform Jacob. He becomes a legendary enchantment, Hawken's Insight. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library face down. You may look at it as long as it remains exiled. Once during each of your turns, you may play a land or cast a spell from among these the cards exiled with this permanent, without paying its mana cost. Cool. It's funny. Yeah, I mean, this is very similar to like Prismatic Bridge. You can just do some funny, interesting things. What's nice is that you can cast this. It doesn't just go into wherever. You can also play it, which is pretty cool. I like this card. I like this card actually. I like the. I did just realize though that this is part of the ability. This isn't a break. This isn't an ability break here. So if you wanted to do that, you would have to tap this and then pay that. And that's not as good. I mean, luckily this is instant speed. I'm a little worse on it though. Lantern Bearer. Hey look, it's a 1-mana flying 1/1. That's not all that great, but you know, flying mana is a thing that exists. And then you can enchant it for 3 to give a creature +1/+1 has flying. You don't need this. Great art by Zoltan Boros, but you don't need this. Lunar Rejection. I hate this card. 2 mana, return target wolf or werewolf creature to its owner's hand, draw a card. Or you can cleave it, return target creature to its owner's hand, draw a card. This card's rude. Look what they did to my boys. Literally, they're all guys for some reason. Even though one of the most prominent werewolves is a lady, but, you know, whatever. Mirror Hall Mimic is a 4-mana spirit. Ooh, getting fancy. You may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's a spirit in addition to other types. Disturb 5. So first off, spirits have a lot of decent cards. This card, not bad. Now what's really cool is Ghastly Mimicry, where you can you enchant a creature. Doesn't have to be yours, by the way. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of enchanted creature, except it's a spirit in addition to its other types. So every turn you get a clone. That's pretty cool. I like cards like this. This is very similar to Progenitor Mimic, I believe. Really cool stuff. I love clones that reclone themselves. I like cards that make more of. Oh, Mimicry, the big 6-mana wolf from earlier for exponential growth. Yeah, that seems pretty sick. Oh god. Oh god, yeah. Mischievous Catgeist. Alright, I'll admit, this is adorable. It's a 2-mana 1/1 cat spirit. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. I mean, the thing is, this is going to draw a card every turn because no good person is going to block this card, right? They're not going to kill this. Come on. Cat-like curiosity, of course. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. I mean, the thing is, like, I think this is a great card in Limited, right? Like, it's only slightly, like, it's a 1/1 instead of a 2/2 for 2, but you get to draw, like, if you hit a player, and even if you draw once, this is probably fine. And then, of course, you just have the flip side, and you can give this to a good creature, something with evasion, something with trample. I'm reminded, of course. Oh, look, another blue temple card. Now, this card makes me go, ooh my. 4 mana enchantment, Necro Duality. Whenever a non-token zombie enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of that creature. I love this card. You can clone all your zombies. This is pretty sick. This is very similar to Reflections, Lit Yara. Reflections of Lit Yara. Except this is when you cast the spell and you copy the spell. Technically speaking, this will have different effects, right? For one, I'm pretty sure this works with Tribal, but additionally, it's on cast, so you don't have to worry about it getting countered. This one, if they get countered, that is unfortunate, and it doesn't work with Tribal, but it's still cool. You still get to make clones of creatures. What's not to love about that, you know? I don't understand why these aren't. I have to talk about Arena because Arena is where I play Magic. Why is it that this isn't the... What are they even called again? The panorama styles or whatever. I legitimately forgotten because I hate them so much. Like this is just better. Just do this. Parallax. Yeah, Parallax is garbage. Just do this. Literally, just extend the border. And if you don't have extended borders on the card, just zoom in. I'm fine with that. Just stop with the Parallax. It's trash. Patchwork Crawler. This is disgusting. These are just hands. It's a lot of hands. My man's face. Nope. This thing looks like it's crying out to its father. Kill me. It's a 2-mana 1/2. Exile target creature card from your graveyard. Put a 1/1 counter on this. This has all activated abilities of all creatures exiled with it. Very similar to Corrosive Ooze? No. Some ooze. A black ooze. It's from Scars of Mirrodin, I believe. It's definitely from the block of Scars. The thing is, whenever I'm playing zombies, I'm loath to play cards that exile creatures from my graveyard. I much prefer to play the type of zombies that use graveyards as refueling stations, as opposed to depletable resources. Because if you use them as refueling stations, you can it's like renewable energy, right? A creature dies, you bring it back, it dies, you bring it back, it dies, you bring it back. With this, something dies, you exile it, that thing's gone. You can't use it again. It's less efficient. This is like oil. This card is actually just an analogy, man. Repository Scab. 4 mana 3/3 exploit. When it exploits a creature, return target sorcery card, instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hands. We've seen cards like this before. A lot of them have been Is It colored. This is just mono blue. I mean, yeah, this card's probably fine. Get your best spell back. Scattered Thoughts. 4 mana instant. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put 2 of those cards into your hand and the rest in your graveyard. This card seems very interesting, right? We've seen a lot of this, like 4 mana draw 2 kind of weaved in with the set. We've seen Foretell. We've seen Jumpstart. We've seen Energy, right? This one doesn't directly tie in. Instead, you get to look at the top 4. You put 2 of those in your hand. You don't even draw them, which will often be a benefit. and then you put the rest in your graveyard. Magic people who have been playing Magic for a while will recognize cards in your graveyard very frequently can be cards in your hand. Functionally, I should say. Interesting card. Interested in checking it out in some sort of deck that wants to draw cards, but also wants to have cards in the graveyard. I love that they've kept the bird horrors from Eldritch Moon. I feel like this is still like, hey, there's still some sort of Eldrazi influence here. It just happens to be this fucking nonsense that's horrifying. Muldrotha's getting all the new toys. True. 6 mana, 4/4, flying, bird horror. Whenever you attack with one more creatures, target player mills that many cards. 3 mana, put Screaming Swarm from your graveyard onto the top of your library, second from the top. Sure, whatever. 6 mana, 4/4 flyer. Probably going to be fine and limited. If you're milling your opponent... What's nice is that this doesn't have to be attacking with it. Right? It's just, you play this on 6, you attack, you mill your opponent for potentially a decent amount. Yeah, I mean, this is fine. I don't think there's a lot of mill in the deck, though, in the set, though, so it might not be worth it. 2 mana, 1/3, Selhoff and Tumor. Discard a creature card, draw a card. The fact that it has to be a creature isn't necessarily too bad. I could see this being played in some sort of rights deck, where you're looking to, essentially, you're looking to get rid of certain cards in your hands, you know, your Shield Dredge, your Elish Norns, etc., etc. And this is a decent way of doing that, while also allowing you to draw a card. Sad we didn't see the same Eldrazi influences on Zendikar. I mean, yeah. I really don't like, and this is kind of no, it doesn't matter for this. I really don't like when Wizards kind of like accelerates natural stuff, right? Like, if you think, I'm trying to think of something that's like the least sensitive topic. Let's see. I really can't think of anything super not sensitive. So let's talk about 9/11. 9/11 technically is still affecting the US today. It affected policies, it affected wars, it affected a lot of things a lot longer than like the Eldrazi did. And the Eldrazi were planet-wide. 9/11 wasn't planet-wide. In fact, technically speaking, it was on a relatively small scale. So when we come back to Zendikar after, I think they said it was 3 years. I think it's been 3 years from Oath of the Gatewatch to the new Zendikar set. I think it was 3 years. Maybe it was 5. Who knows? But if I don't care that the Royal and all of the magic of the plane like is super accelerating things. 5 years is not enough to function, like fundamentally not matter, like just not care about the Eldrazi anymore. It feels very strange. I would say honestly, even 20 years, I think would have been nuts. To just still have people like, because it legitimately seemed like very, very few even cared about anything. It seems unnatural. Everyone is just happy and living large after a planetary threat. Very comic book. Yeah, completely agree. Like people were just going on expeditions. Like, oh yeah, we're part of expeditions again. It's all back to the whole like the exploration thing and dungeons and whatnot. No, that's fucking stupid. I hate it. I legitimately hate it. And I am upset. I'm legitimately upset that we aren't seeing more Eldrazi here, right? Or at least like Eldrazi adjacent things, right? There's still a literal Titan in the moon, and yes, they reference the fact that, hey, the fact that we have something in the moon, is probably why like we have this weird day-night cycle. That's good. That's good. That's really good. Not enough. Like people went fucking insane. People were turned into monsters. And not like the normal Innistrad monsters, like actual monsters. I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me. But, whatever. Anyway, Serpentine Ambush is a 2-mana instant, and it makes a creature, base power, become 5/5. Turns into a blue serpent, but who cares? This is a removal spell in limited. It either removes your opponent's life or their creature. I think this card has to be like really good, right? Like, you could read this essentially as like a blue. It's a blue pump spell. It's just like a blue pump spell. Sky warp scab. I actually thought this was rap when I first read it. 5 mana, 2/5 flyer. Enter the battlefield. You may exile 2 creature cards from your graveyard. If you do, draw a card. This card has got to be good and limited. Just having that ability to draw an extra card. It's a 2/5, so it blocks skies really nicely. It also just attacks really fine. Steelclad Spirit. 2 mana Defender Spirit. It's a 3/3. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, it can attack as though it didn't have Defender. Sure, I do not care. Stitches. I have to come back to the Zendikar thing. Additionally, Wizards was like, oh yeah, the Royal, you know, the thing that like makes Zendikar, was essentially an immune response to the Eldrazi. That's what Wizards said. The Royal was a immune response to the Eldrazi. And yet, now that the Eldrazi are gone, couldn't help but notice that the Royal, or at least Zendikar's like super chaotic mana, still around. Kinda sus if you ask me. So, one of the things I would really like to go... Oh, and then the freaking Dominaria was in a giant time mess. And then we go back and it's just like, cool, I guess. It's fine. Everything's fine. Just, oh look, Bells Unlock. It's a thing. Who cares? What happened to the literal like, just it was an apocalypse. It was a fucking apocalypse. And then oh, it's just fine. It's just fine. But I really, really want to go back to Amonkhet because I love Amonkhet. I loved the Egyptian theme. Loved all the zombies and all that stuff. But if Wizards went back and it was like, oh, there's a new city, like they just founded a new city while we were away, and we get to look at some sort of annoying stupid conflict that doesn't fucking matter. That's not fun. What would be fun is the discovery of a new city. You know, there'd be tomb divings, there'd be traps, there'd be a lot of like lore discovery. Maybe they would like find a way to reinstate the gods that died, because technically the gods are just manifestations of fucking mana. You could do that, and then you could like revive the other gods that were twisted and turned into the bad gods. I want a fucking apocalypse, damn it. And I want to see people deal with it. We've had so many sets where apocalypse happened, and we don't see people deal with it. We don't see the aftermath. And that makes me sad. Anyway, Stitch Assistant, 3 mana, 3/2, exploit. Exploits a creature, scry 1 and draw a card. Sure, that's fine. Storm Tracer Drake. 2 mana, 2/1 flying. When it becomes the target of a spell you control, draw a card. So, I mean, it's a 2 mana, 2/1 flyer. Like, already, that's sick. Like, this is just decent. And then if you buff it with an enchantment or literally anything else, you get to draw a card. I think this card is probably, like, early pick in limited. Syncopate. It's a reprint. Cool. Siphon Essence. 3 mana instant. Counter target creature or planeswalker spell. Create a blood token. Again, we've seen cards like this. No Escape from War of the Spark, I think. Yeah, it counters a creature or planeswalker. Also gives you set mechanic. Cool. Thirst for Discovery. Wait, this isn't a reprint. What the hell am I thinking of? Because there's a card that's like exactly the same, except it doesn't say basic. Thirst for Discovery. 3 mana instant, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard a basic land. There's a card that's just better than this, because it doesn't have basic. Thirst for Meaning? I thought that was the enchantment one. I'm just gonna do Thirst 4. Oh, wait. Is the card that I think of, it doesn't exist? It must not be a Thirst 4. Huh. Oh well. It's still probably fine and limited. It's like weird Divination. Jeez. 1 Spirit, 3 mana, 2/3. Can block only creatures with flying. Sure. Wash Away. It's a 1 mana instant. Counter target spell that was cast from its owner's hand. Oh, that wasn't cast from its owner's hand. Then you cleave 3 to counter target spell. I mean, fun fact, like, this deadass might see play in standard sideboards. Hell, maybe even historic sideboards, right? Like, this just gets rid of flashback cards. It gets rid of cards, like, it counters cards from the Foretell zone. Counter target spell that wasn't cast from its owner's hand. Oh, this counters planeswalkers. Or this counters commanders. I feel like this is probably going to get an early ban in Brawl, maybe? I think this card's going to see a decent amount of play. I was told that it was maybe compulsive research. Oh, yeah, it's okay. Oh, it's a sorcery. Okay. Okay, you know what? Fair. Fair. It's a sorcery. Whispering Wizard. 4 mana, 3/2. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a Flying Tear Spirit token. This ability triggers only once each turn. This card is bad because it's no bird guy. The 4 mana, 1/5 bird guy. It's not as cool. I don't like this. Wizards have been doing a lot of this recently, and I don't like it. Murmuring Mystic, yeah. Some cards it's fine. This card, I don't like it on. I don't appreciate this. Winged Portent is a 3 mana instant. Draw a card for each creature with flying you control, or you cleave it. You just draw a card for each creature you control. It's a Simic card. It'll see play in some sort of Simic Brawl deck. It'll make me fucking sad. Wretched Throng. 2 mana, 2/1. Zombie horror. Absolutely hideous. When it dies, you may search your library for a card named Wretched Throng, reveal it, and put it in your hand. I mean, you essentially just keep getting more Throngs. It's the thing is, it's not like good enough by itself for me to want to play a playset of these, right? Like one of the reasons Squadron Hawks was great is because you got it on ETB, and then another reason is that it flew. This is just a 2 mana 2/1, and it has to die to get the card. You thought it was Wretched Thong. I mean, totally reasonable. IMHO. Aim for the head. 3 mana, sorcery. Choose 1. Exile target zombie. Target opponent exiles 2 cards from their hand. I mean, hey, look. Mind. Whatever the thing is, man. It's gone. We get new, better 3 mana discard 2s. They have to exile, which is better than forcing them to discard. You could also just use it to exile a zombie. This card's fine. This card's pretty reasonable. Mind Rot, thank you, Jesus. This card's reasonable. Obviously, if you're playing a discard deck, this is worse. It's not actually this card, for example, is not strictly better. It's just typically better. Bleed Dry. 4 mana instant. Target creature gets -13/-13 until end of turn. If that creature would die this turn, exile instead. I actually think that this is premium removal. Like, if you see this, unless you get some sort of like busted creature or planeswalker, I think this is like first pick material. Like, it just destroys things. It exiles them. It's a it's -13. It's gonna get rid of, I think, everything in most sets. I'm pretty sure the majority of creatures, the vast majority, I think very few have higher than higher, not equal to or higher than 13 power or 13 toughness. Can't kill Cherix, -10. I mean, I guess. Yeah, I think this card's pretty sick. You know what? I don't care. We're gonna go to stats. Toughness equal. Let's see, greater than 13. There are 6. This isn't even real. This card isn't legal in most places. Cherix, I mean, doesn't really seem to play all that much. Worlds by Worm, sure. This is played very sometimes in EDH. This card It's trash anyway. No one plays it. And then this card is played in, I think, like, one specific deck in Modern? Legacy? I don't remember. This is played in something. I just don't remember exactly what it is. So, yeah, okay, sure. There are some. And by some, I mean, like, 3. Anyway. Blood Fountain. Gross. It's a 1-mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, create a blood token. Who would have thought? Pay 4 and sacrifice Blood Fountain. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. I think this card is not great. I would love if this card itself were a blood token. Or you know how, like, some things are clues, some things are food? I would have liked it this was... actually... Is it type blood? It is. Blood is a type. Okay. I guess I would want this to be artifact blood. Anyway. Blood Cray Socialite. Both these arts are fucking sick. Dude, this looks like Ronnie. This looks like Ronnie from Escape the Fate, formerly Falling in Reverse. Wait, Falling in Reverse. Formerly Escape the Fate. This legit looks like Ronnie from I'm Not a Vampire revamped, I think is what they called it. Anyway, it's a 4-mana menace vampire. It's a 3/3, seems decent. Enters the battlefield, create a blood token. Sure, when it attacks, you may sack a blood token. If you do, it gets +2/+2. It has menace. Like, this card seems really good in the blood token deck. Yeah, I mean, if you're playing this in the blood token deck, you're probably loving this card. Bloodsworn Squire. 4-mana, Vampire Soldier, 3/3. 2-mana, discard a card. Gains extra trouble until end of turn. Tap it. Then if there are 4 more creature cards in your graveyard, transform it. What's interesting here, right, is that you can just use this ability to get the indestructible. But also, you can turn it into Bloodsworn Knight. Its power and toughness equals the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Get effed. Then you can discard a card, give it indestructible, blah, blah, blah. You might be wondering, why is your voice garbage? It's because I've been talking. Shut up. Is a 4-mana 5/5 menace even playable, though? In limited, yes. Yeah, absolutely. A 4-mana 3/3 with menace is fine in limited. It's not great, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's amazing. But if you're playing a deck that, like, is consistently able to Blood Vial, hell yeah. I'm the Vampire. Blood Vial Purveyor. It's a 4-mana, 5/6 Flample Vampire. Whenever an opponent attacks, or excuse me, whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player creates a blood token. Whenever this attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each blood token defending player controls. So this card's very interesting, right? It has a downside in that your opponent gets blood tokens. So they can use them to discard a card, sacrifice it, and draw a card. However, that still costs them mana and a card. Technically a card, doesn't actually. Oh, right, by the way, this should say until end of turn. Yeah, for what it's worth, this is end of turn. This is end of turn here. It doesn't say end of turn here, which is hilarious. A lot of hot studs for the people who like masculine bodies. Yeah, I mean it's pretty interesting here. Like it's a 4-mana 5/6 with Flample, dude. Blocks Goldspan Dragon, as was said in the chat. Your opponent gets blood tokens, but like the longer they don't use them, which takes resources and tempo, the bigger this thing gets. Like, this card seems not bad. Also, as was pointed out in the chat, you could just use Karn, the War of the Spark one that has a static ability. I'm trying to find it on my War of the Spark wall. Yeah, activated abilities of artifacts your opponent's control can't be activated. So it's very fun. It's cool. I like this card. Also, it's a big hunk. Jesper Eichen, best artist ever, and I wish Senpai would notice me. Dies to Questing Beast. Questing Beast doesn't have reach. Catapult Fodder is a 3-mana creature, zombie. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 3 or more creatures that each have toughness greater than their power, transform Catapult Fodder. It's a 1/5. Catapult Captain is a 2/6. You can pay 3, tap, sack another creature, target opponent loses life equal to sack creature's toughness. If it blocked questing beast, it dies. Who's using a 4-mana 5/6 to block? Ugh. Anyway, yeah, this can throw creatures at people. What's really nice is that the sacked creature doesn't have to be like untapped, so you can double dip. You can attack with the creature and then throw it. Maybe you can play like a dark Bant deck where you run a lot of walls and then this, and then you attack with your walls, but you also throw your walls. you use a siege weapon to throw your walls at your opponent. That's great. No, I love it. This is funny because there's a 1/13 common in the set. That seems interesting. Cemetery Desecrator. This man is huge. How did it get in there? Like what the hell, right? I don't think there are giants on Innistrad. This is not a scab, right? This is. I'm pretty sure it's not a scab. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is not a scab. Like, this had to have used to be a human. It's huge. Anyway, 6 mana 4/4. Menace. When it enters the battlefield or dies, exile another card from a graveyard. When you do, choose 1. Remove X counters from target permanent, where X is the mana value of the exiled card, or target creature an opponent controls gets -X -X until end of turn, where X is the mana value of the exiled card. Now, what's nice is that, again, this is a graveyard, so you can use your opponent's cards against them. If your opponent is playing, Planeswalkers, for example, things that you want counters removed from, then they're likely going to have relatively high mana values of cards in their graveyard. You play this, you can immediately kill one of their Planeswalkers. That's great. What's also great is that when it dies, when your opponent inevitably kills it, you can do it again. For example, you destroy the Planeswalker that you already destroyed, or you exile the Planeswalker that you destroyed with the enter the battlefield, and then bada bing, bada boom, you've killed 2 of the things, which is great. And you've exiled cards from the graveyard. If you're going against decks where your opponent is playing a lot of creatures that you want to destroy, well, super aggressive creatures tend to have efficient bodies, but not always bodies that are going to be too big based on the mana value, right? So your opponent has like a bunch of 3/2s that cost 2. One of them's dead. You play this, you exile it, you get rid of another 3/2, and it blocks. It's pretty nice. Of course, you can flicker this card to get extra abilities on here. The biggest issue for this card, I think, for me, is the fact that it's a 4/4 for 6. Honestly, I would have preferred to see this card, because this card feels defensive to me. I could be super wrong, but it feels defensive. I would say that I would like the Menace removed and have like 6 toughness on this. Or make it a 5/5. But, Courier Bat. It's 3 mana 2/2 flying bat. Hey, look, it's a Windrake. Windrake in black with upside. If you gain life this turn, return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. This is Windrake with upside in black. Play it in limited. Desperate Farmer. Oh god. Those goats are really egging him on there, man. Sheep, shut up. 3 mana human peasant. This art makes me sad. Lifelink. When another creature you control dies, transform it. Depraved Harvester. Holy ash. It becomes a 4/3 with lifelink. Yeah, so he becomes a knight, which I don't know if I get. Because it feels like he should have become like a warlock, right? Or a shaman or something, because like he reanimates this thing, right? Isn't the whole thing he reanimates this? Or did he sack a goat? I want the story of this card, please. There's a goat, but there were other goats. Sheep, shut up. Did he kill all of his sheep? That doesn't make sense. Because then, like... I don't understand. I want more information on this card. Diagraph Scavenger is a fucking zombie bear with a sword in its fucking skull. 4 mana, 2/3. Death Touch Zombie Bear. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. If a creature card was exiled this way, each opponent loses 2 and you gain 2. What knight uses a pitchfork? Hey, you know, it's like a trident, which is essentially just a fancy bident. And bidents are just fancy spears, which are just types of, like, unfancy lances. Boom. Pitchfork. I don't know, man. It's decently defensive. It's probably going to be fine and limited just because of the fact that exile is something of your opponent's. And then you can block and kill, like, literally whatever you want as long as it doesn't have evasion. Seems fine. Doom Dissenter. It's a reprint, and it makes so much sense here. I love it. In Amonkhet, Doom Dissenter was a person who was like, oh, I don't believe in the... it's like, I don't believe in the God Pharaoh. Q gets left out. This person just said some nonsense or something. Maybe he was like, Sigurd is not our true angel, blah, blah, blah. Gets sent out into the forest and is going to fucking die. I love the card. I love this reprint. I think it's a really good one. Dread Feast Demon is a 7-mana 6/6 flying demon. At the beginning of your end step, sacrifice a non-demon creature. If you do, create a token that's a copy of Dreadfast Demon. Notably, if you don't have any non-demons, you don't have to sacrifice anything. So theoretically, you could maybe play this in Demon Tribal that happens to play a couple non-demons that work really nicely with demons or with being sacrificed. The main things I think of are cards that allow you to kind of ramp into this. I think it's pretty cool. Flavor Text is Metal. By the 6th day of darkness, the lake was more blood than water. Holy sh... Also, it doesn't say non-demon, non-token. Yeah, that's true. So if you're just making tokens, you can make more demons. Yeah, actually, that's probably better, frankly. Dying to Serve. 3 mana, enchantment. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. I mean, I don't know how often you're forcing yourself to discard. This works nicely with the Liliana from a core set, I think? The one that, like, pluses each player discards a card. Works nicely with that. I guess you could also have Waste Not. I don't know how, like, there are Delirium Skeins, but that's not in Historic. I don't know how many cards force each player to discard. There might be something there if there are enough on Arena, but I don't think there's enough on Arena to make a deck with this. Not yet, at least. Edgar's Awakening. 5 mana sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Hey, look, it's a reanimation spell. It's 5 mana. When you discard Edgar's Awakening, you may pay black. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Sure. Just meh. I mean, like, it's Reanimator. But it has some nice discard efficiency, sure. But Falcon Wraith Forebear. 3 mana 3/1 flying vampire. Falcon Wraith Forebear can't block. When it deals combat damage to a player, create a blood token. Pay a black, sacrifice 2 blood tokens, return the Forebear from the graveyard to the battlefield. If you are trying to make a blood deck in Constructed, I think you need 4 of these cards. Because it helps you make blood tokens. And it can come back with the blood tokens. I don't know, it seems fine. It seems pretty good for a blood token deck. Gift of Fangs is amazing art. Absolutely amazing art. 1 mana enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 as long as it's a vampire. Otherwise, it gets dead weighted. This card is just good. You just dead weight stuff. Look at the art this person's done. It's so good. Actually, I need to make a video talking about, like, there was a time, it was like during Oath of Gatewatch, when everyone was like, Magic art looks too samey. Like, it seems like Wizards is being too strict on their style guides. Everything is too too similar to everything else. Wizards has been allowing artists, or at least if that's the case, if that was the case, whatever, artists have been making such amazing varied art that still feels like Magic. Hell, that might even feel like kind of more like Magic, right? I think they deserve credit for that. Graph Reaver is a 2-mana 3/3 zombie warrior with exploit. When it exploits a creature, destroy target planeswalker. At the beginning of your upkeep, this deals 1 damage to you. This line of text does not matter. This line of text essentially does not exist. This is a 2-mana destroy target planeswalker card, right? You just sack itself, sure. Or this is a 2-mana, you don't exploit anything, 3/3 zombie. It domes you. I don't care. You're playing a 2-mana 3/3 zombie. You're playing an aggressive zombie deck. You're going to kill them. And then of course you could just sack a shitty 1/1 or something, and just murk a planeswalker. Just murk a planeswalker. Just die. We don't care. This line doesn't matter. This card's sick. I love it. It's hideous, but I love it. Grizzly Ritual is a 6-mana sorcery. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Create 2 blood tokens. This card is limited removal at best. 1 damage to me, 3 damage to you. Exactly. We already talked about this card. Headless Rider. Last I checked, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 visible heads, and I'm fairly certain that based on the spacing, there should be a head here. So I'm fairly certain this is 6 heads. You have multiple heads, Mr. Rider. 3-mana, 3/1. Whenever Headless Rider or another non-token zombie you control dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. This does not say triggers only once each turn. What this card says is, I'm going to play this zombie. I dare you to wrath me. I fucking dare you to wrath me. I want you to do it. I want you to wrath me right now, dude. I want you to do it. Because then, they wrath your board, and you're laughing at them because you still have a board. That's pretty sick. And then, of course, if they just, like, single target removal, you still get value out of it. I think this card's pretty sick. The issue is, like, zombie constructed decks are also having an issue. Why do I feel like there's 3... Wizards, I think, is just printing really good 3-drops. I feel like Wizards is just, like, printing gas 3-drops constantly. We need some better 4-drops, Wizards. Like Siege Rhino. Had this out, they wrath you, then cast Rise of the Dreadmarm. Oh my god, that would be fucking hilarious. Henrika Domnathi. Okay. 4 mana, 1/3, Flying Vampire. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Each player sacrifices a creature. You draw a card and you lose a life. Transform Henrika. Transformed Henrika has Flying, Death Touch, and Lifelink, is a 3/4, and has 3. Each creature you control with Flying, Death Touch, and or Lifelink gets +1/+0 until end of turn, notably herself. She essentially is a 4-mana 4/4. Well, she's a 4-mana 3/4, blah blah blah. This is really cool. Henrika is a bee, and I'm glad she died in a stupid way. Oh, I haven't read any of the story yet. Hashtag no spoilers. But yeah, no, I think this is a cool card. You have a little bit of that, like, rankle. You have a little bit of that rankle stuff here, right? And then you do a thing. I think it's cool. I like this card. Hell, you could even just make this like a Flying Death Touch Lifelink tribal deck, like historic Brawl. You know, you're playing all the cards that have multiple of these. You know, you're playing the Lifelink Death Touch Gifted Aetherborn. You're playing the Zendikar, the new, God, what's that card called? It's the new Vampire Nighthawk, but scales. You know, you're playing things like that. It's fun. It's pretty fun. Hero's Downfall is being reprinted. This is very interesting, right? And here's why. This doesn't come with a downside. It doesn't have any upside, but it doesn't come with a downside. Murderous Rider comes with a downside, but it has a really big upside. Your downfall is very neutral. It's a good card. You play this somewhere, I think. In Historic, most likely. Or Standard, for sure. Historic somewhere. Parasitic Grasp is a 2-mana instant. Parasitic Grasp deals 3 damage to target human creature. You gain 3 life. Or Cleave, 1 black. Deals 3 damage to target creature. You gain 3 life. The thing is, we've had this exact card before. Like, 1 black. Deal 3 damage to target creature. You gain 3 life. Yeah, amazing art. Like, don't get me wrong, this art's sick. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know if I like the card. Persistent Specimen. Single black, Essence Extraction, thank you. Single black for a 1/1 skeleton, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped for 3 mana. We've seen cards like this before. Oh, on the card, they have a typo in stitchers. That's hilarious. The jawbone's connected to the skull bone. The skull bone's connected to the hook thingy. This is fun. Pointed Discussion. 3 mana. Sorcery. You draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, then create a blood token. Again, this is just like read from the bones with set mechanic. Right? Like 3 mana, black, draw 2, set mechanic. Right? So, it's cool. It's fine. Sure. Why not target player instead of you? Because WotC hates players like us who like to do stupid stuff like kill our opponent with a draw card. That's why. WotC hates us, essentially. 2 mana, 2/1, human peasant, ragged recluse, whatever. That's a squid. At the beginning of your end step, if you discarded a card this turn, transform it. She becomes Odious Witch, human warlock. Whenever Odious Witch attacks, defending player loses 1 and you gain 1. I don't like the discard just doesn't seem related to this, so I'm like, eh. Restless Bloodseeker, shut up. Is a 2 mana 1/3 vampire that sadly doesn't fly. Makes me sad. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, create a blood token, sacrifice 2 blood tokens, transform Restless Bloodseeker. It turns into Blood-Soaked Reveler. Still doesn't fly, which is bullcrap. Beat your end step, if you gain life, blah blah blah. And then you can pay 5. Each opponent loses 2 and you gain 2. I mean, I don't. Maybe it'll be relatively fast to transform this in limited. It's not bad. I think this card's not bad in limited. Toxrill, the Corrosive, is a 7 mana 7/7 slug horror. Beginning of each end step, put a slime counter on each creature you don't control. Creatures you don't control get -1/-1 for each slime counter on them. Whenever a creature you don't control with a slime counter dies, create a 1/1 black slug. Blue-black, sacrifice a slug, draw a card. Now, my thing is, I wish that slime counters had this ability. Because what this means is, you can put a slime counter on a creature, right? You put a slime counter on a creature. Toxrill leaves the battlefield for whatever reason. Those slime counters no longer do anything. I don't like that. I recognize that templating it that way, where you put a slime counter on each creature you don't control, slime counters have, you know, this creature gets -1/-1. Doing that means that it's possible to have Toxrill not on the battlefield when some of these slime things die. That's possible anyway. Right? Like, they could just die while it's not on the battlefield, regardless. So I would have really liked to see this be templated differently, but whatever. You get slugs. You get to sacrifice the slugs. It's cool. It's horrifying. It's utterly disgusting. It's a horror, which is very important for that, the horror lord. The slugs aren't horrors. Which is a bit weird, because I'm looking at the art here, and I can't help but see horror. Undead Butler. So 2 mana, 1/2, and a battlefield mill 3. When it dies, you may exile it. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. I think this card is... I mean, it's another zombie that mills yourself. Like, you can go Stitcher Supplier, Undead Butler, Ravenous Buzzard? Ravenous Vulture? No, it's a There's a crow. Think of the zombie crow, actually. Whatever, something crow. Undying Malice. Wait, what? I thought this was a reprint. I guess we've just had so many of these cards that I legitimately thought this was a reprint. Crow of Dark Tidings. Thank you. Until end of turn, target creature gains. When this creature dies, return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control with a 1/1 counter on it. I'm realizing this card is worse than a lot of those other cards. Because I think a lot of those other cards say under your control. But still, you can like save your own creature in limited. This is like a weird combat trick style thing. Where like your opponent thinks they're going to be trading. And then this. Mire Triton, kinda? Yeah. No, yeah, I was just saying that it's an additional one, the Butler. Unhallowed Phalanx, 5 mana, 1/13, enters the battlefield tapped. So yes, if you have the other zombie, you can throw this card at your opponent. And it's fucking hilarious. I do appreciate that this is at least, like, it has a power. If this had 0 power, I'd be very sad. Nah, this card's funny. I like this card. I think it's hilarious. Vampire's Kiss, mwah. 2 mana sorcery. Target player loses 2. You gain 2. Create 2 blood tokens. This is kind of similar to Sovereign's Bite, except you lose 1 life and 1 life, but instead you get 2 blood. I mean, you get 2 blood tokens with this card. And this card seems fine. Like, if you're trying to make a blood token deck work, this is a really cheap way of just getting those blood tokens. It also, like, it helps you. Like, against aggro, you get to gain 2, which is not nothing. And then against control, you know, you have some reach, technically. So, I think this card's fine. Wedding Security. Okay, why is this target player? There's like 1 card that cares about you losing life. Which is it, Query? Do you want things to say target player, or do you want things to say target opponent? I'm happy this says target player. There are cards in Magic overall that care about loss of life. I'm happy this is target player. Anyway, 5 mana 4/4. When Wedding Security attacks, you may sack a blood token. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on it and draw a card. The thing is, like, if this didn't say draw a card, it would be worse. Like, it would be probably not great. But as is, you know, in limited, 5 mana for a 4/4 that uses your blood tokens in a really good way, right? Like this, not only does this get permanently bigger, but you get to draw a card. This is good. This is good. It's got to be. Obviously, I'm going to make a budget build for blood tokens, as well as an upgraded build. This will, at the very least, be in the budget build. Hey, look, we're in red finally. A Braid. It's been reprinted. It's a good card. Alluring Suitor. All right, I'm very sorry, but my man's here has a better haircut. Also, he has a beard. I just respect the beard more. Sorry, dude. 3 mana, 2/3 vampire. When you attack with exactly 2 creatures, not 3, not 1, 2 creatures, transform this. Then it has a trip to Deadly Dancer. Ooh, that girl's fine. When this creature transformed, add 2 red mana. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana, blah, blah, blah. Then Deadly Dancer and target another target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Or +1/+0 until end of turn. Also, this looks more like me. I mean, I guess? Nah, dude. Nah, he's way more trimmed up. He has, like, braids. My hair, I don't know if my hair can even do that, really. I mean, I'm taking it as a compliment, because my dude's looks pretty good. Like, my man's looks pretty good. And he looks like he's having a great time. So, we take those. But yeah, no, this card's cool. I like this card. 3 mana, 2/3 is not terrible. Turns into something that is potentially pretty nice. Honestly, I'd like to be the girl in the back. I mean, she looks great too. The thing is, like, they've made... They've made these vampires hot as fuck. They've made all these vampires look real nice. Ancestral Anger is a single red sorcery. Target creature gains trample and gets plus X plus O until in front where X is 1 plus the number of cards named Ancestral Anger in your graveyard. Draw a card. I like this card. Maybe we could see this in a Feather style deck in Historic, even though those decks have died out. It's fun. I like these. I like these cards that like when you play multiple copies. My favorite, obviously, is Rune Snag. I love Rune Snag. I think it's really cool. I wonder if Rune Snag would be too strong in Historic. Rune Snag might be too strong in Historic. I like it, though. Cards that want you to play, like, play sets are cards that I like. Ballista Watcher is a 4-mana human soldier werewolf who looks very sad. You can pay 3 and tap it to deal 1 damage to any target. That is not good. Also, the fact that it's a 4/3 makes like the card is telling you, or the stat line is telling you, oh, you should be attacking. This ability, since it doesn't have vigilance, is saying, I want you not attacking, so you can use this ability. I don't like it. But then he's just like, what's up, bitch? And he's just holding a ballista, dude. He's just like, what's up? Oh, sorry. Anyway, it turns into a 5/5, which is much better. I wish the first side was a 4/4 instead of a 4/3. I really don't like it. But yeah, it becomes a 3-mana, no tap. You just deal 1 damage to any target. A creature dealt down this way can't block. Very cool. The thing is, Night Side, this card's great. I love the Night Side. Really cool ability. Decent stats. You know, it started out as a 4-mana card. The issue is that the Day Side fucking sucks. Backside good. Day Side trash. So, I don't think it'll even make the cut in Commander Werewolves because we've had so many. Belligerent Guest. All right, look, she looks a little too mad. So we'll go to the one who looks less mad and just drunkenly belligerent. 3 mana, 3/2, trample. Whenever she deals combat damage to a player, create a blood token. Again, a really cheap way of making blood tokens. She has trample, so even if she gets blocked, it's decently likely that you'll get the token. Yeah, it's fine. It's gonna be in the budget version. Blood Hypnotist. Ooh. I'm gonna stick with this one. I like this one. 3 mana, 3/3. Can't block. Whenever you sacrifice 1 or more blood tokens, a target creature can't block this turn. This ability triggers only once each turn. Yeah, I don't think that she's worth trying to put into the blood token deck. Even at limited, I'm not sure if that is worth it. Blood Petal Celebrant. Okay. I think she's adorable. I'm going to assume that she's an adult as well. This, though, I see where they were going. I'm going back. 2 mana, 2/1. Has first strike as long as it's attacking. When it dies, create a blood token. I think that's pretty cool. I have a Discord notification. It is gone now. I need not worry. Yes. Card's cool. I like that it has first strike when it's attacking. When it dies, you get a blood token. The thing is, like, how much overlap is there between... like, this is obviously an aggressive creature, right? This is a creature you want to play, you want to attack with. It has first strike, which is nice. 2 power, which is fine, but it is a vampire, so potentially it can get larger. But do you care about the blood tokens in a deck that wants to be this aggressive? I don't know. Maybe. Bloody Betrayal. All I can think of is Bullet for My Valentine with Your Betrayal. I unironically think that blood tokens are going to be good in an artifact deck with the Karnfather and All That Glitters. It's even flavorful. How is it flavorful? Anyway, gain control target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste. Create a blood token. This is Act of Treason with set mechanic. Cemetery Gatekeeper. Okay, gatekeeping like a boss. Okay, I'm sorry, but this guy. He looks cooler than you, man. 2 mana, 2/1, first strike. When it enters the battlefield, exile a card from graveyard. Notably, just if no one's picked up on it yet, this is a cycle. All that glitters, vampires, no, stop, go away, get out. Whenever a player plays a land or casts a spell, if it shares a card type with the exiled card, Cemetery Gatekeeper deals 2 damage to that player. It's pretty cool. Who plays a land? Cast a spell. Shares a card type with the exiled card. Deals 2 damage to them. Imagine you're playing a game of Magic the Gathering, and your opponent has played a Fabled Passage. You exile that Fabled Passage on turn 2. Every time your opponent plays a land now, they lose 2 fucking life. Or maybe your opponent opted earlier. You exile that. Every time they try to counter one of your creatures, take 2. When they kill this inevitably with an instant, take 2. This card's sick. Not going down without a fight. I like it. Creepy Puppeter. 4 mana, 4/3 haste. When it attacks, if you attacked with exactly one other creature this combat, you may have that creature's base power and toughness become 4/3 until end of turn. I don't see how this is supposed to be good. 4/3 is not a great stat line. This doesn't specify a player. Control-Shift-T. I know. Oh, this hurts you as well. Here's the thing. We don't care. Because we're playing an aggro deck. When you're playing an aggro deck, unless you're going against another aggro deck, you don't care about your life. And even then, you only care about your life so long as it's below theirs. But yeah, Creepy Puppeteer, I just do not see how this card is good. Because a 4/3 set line is not really a good set line. Even if it was if it was a 4/4 set line, maybe. It's a rogue, but I doubt that matters. I don't see this card being played anywhere. Curse of Hospitality, another fantastic art by Dominique, not entirely sure exactly how it's pronounced. 3 mana, curse, enchant player, creatures attacking enchanted player have trample. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Just chump block, have fun. You're taking damage. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to enchanted player, whenever a creature deals combat damage to enchanted player, the enchanted player exiles the top card of their library. Until end of turn, the creature's controller may play that card and may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell. So let's say I attack the enchanted player with 3 creatures and all of them connect. The enchanted player exiles 3 of their top cards. I may then play those cards. When I first read this, I had to read this 10, 15 times. Whenever a creature, I don't like the wording. I understand that technically speaking, this is the correct wording. I don't care. I really wish this said enchanted player. I don't like that. Daybreak Combatants, 3 mana, 2/2 haste, human. And the battlefield target creature gets +2/+0. It can give itself +2, it's a 3 mana haste 4/2 on the first turn. It's probably fine and limited if you're playing red-white aggro, red-black aggro, something like that. And the Festivities, 1 mana sorcery. And the Festivities deals 1 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalker they control. Works really nice with the Death Touch skeleton. Yeah, it works nice with the Death Touch skeleton. Also, apparently the wolves came to say hi, and some vampires are gonna get Pestilent Spirit. Thank you. Falcon Wrath Celebrants. I'm not sure if I care that I would die. I would have loved to have been at this party. All the vampires are so hot. 5 mana 4/4 menace. Enters a battlefield to create 2 blood tokens. If you need some more blood tokens, it's probably fine. Again, a 5 mana 4/4 menace is not the worst thing that you could have. It's not the best, don't get me wrong. But unlimited, this is probably fine if you want the blood tokens. Fearful Villager. Shouldn't they know he's also a werewolf? My man is simping hard, and I don't blame him one bit. Look, I'm allowed to be a major simp now. 3 mana, Menace, 2/3. Sure. It's kind of it. That's fine. Whatever. Then it becomes a 4/3. It doesn't get any more toughness. It still only has Menace. Could you have not given it more toughness? Like, seriously? Just make it even if you made it a 4/4. But the fact that you're just like, Q, makes me so sad. Flame Blessed Bolt. It's a single red mana, instant. Flame Blessed Bolt deals 2 damage to target creature planeswalker. If that creature or planeswalker would die this turn, exile it instead. It's similar-ish to Pillar of Flame, except this is instant. It's fine. It's fine. Frenzied Devils. 5 mana, 3/3 haste devils. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Once again, notably, this is not once per turn. Cool stuff. Good stuff. Of course, by good, I mean not actually that great. Honeymoon Hearse. I love that the skulls are replacing, like, the cups or whatever they're supposed to be. I don't know how weddings work. 3 mana, trample, vehicle. To 5/5. Notably, has no crew cost. No crew cost at all. Tap 2 untapped creatures you control. Then it becomes an artifact creature. Essentially, you have to have the 2 wedding people to make this a thing. Sure. That's fine. Hungry Ridgewolf is a 2 mana 2/2 as long as you control another wolf or werewolf. Hungry. My speech is getting worse, everyone. Gets +1/+0 and trample. You know, it's a bear with upside. If you're playing a deck in the limited environment when you're able to get a decent number of wolves and werewolves, you're probably liking it. You know, it's probably good. Ill-Tempered Loner. It's a 4 mana 3/3 human werewolf. Whenever it is dealt damage, any damage, it deals that much damage to any target. Yeah, yep. Then for 2 mana, it gets like weak fire breathing. Sure, cool, awesome, yeah, whatever. But turns into Halapak Avenger. It's 4/4. Whenever a permanent you control is dealt damage, this deals that much damage to any target. Still has the cool fire breathing. So in werewolves, sure, whatever. I can see where this come from. You know, if your opponent's gonna have a hard time attacking or blocking with this. You usually get to murder their creatures and/or their face, or their planeswalkers. You know, you get to do whatever. If you give this thing indestructible, you can just infinite damage this card, like, to itself, just like keep hurting it. I don't know if that's gonna matter, but you know, you could do it. But here's where it's really good, right? And frankly, I don't really care about this. This helps, right? This side helps, but this side is all that technically matters, because you know what this card is? This card is an additional Brash Taunter. It's an additional Spiteful Sliver, Spineback Sliver, whatever it's called. It's an additional True Fire Captain. For yes, the red-white deal damage to my own creatures, kill my opponent. This is just another card making that deck more consistent. I love it so much. Can we please get oh gosh, what is it called? If you give it indestructible and have a damage doubler, it works. So okay. So let's say you have Torbrand, you make this indestructible, right? You hit it with like 2 damage or whatever. Torbrand makes it 4. Remember, it's indestructible. Cool. So it targets itself. It wants to deal 4, does 6 because Torbrand's out, and deals 8. And you keep doing that until it deals enough damage that you one-shot your opponent. I love it. We're making the deck. Yeah, okay, yeah. The thing is, this is any target. A lot of those other ones don't. What's the Spy Sliver? It is spiteful. Target player or planeswalker. Damn. And then I know Brash Taunter. Actually, I don't know Brash Taunter. Oh, okay. Target opponent. Sag. And then True Fire. is target player. God! This card is like actually the GOAT. I mean, it's a wolf, but you know, it's the GOAT. There's also a 3-mana one from OG Innistrad that I cannot for the life of me remember. Although I do know it's mana cost, which is this, this, and this. Boros Reckoner. Would this be too good in Historic? Nah, it'd be fine. Yeah, it'd be fine. It'd totally be fine, right? But yeah, no, I mean, we're getting more stuff for the nonsense deck. I like it. Into the Night. 4-mana sorcery. It becomes Night. Discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards plus 1. This is a sorcery. I understand that like this technically allows you to draw a card as well, but I don't know, man. I feel like, honestly, I feel like you'd be better off just playing nothing and having better cards in your deck. Just like pass the turn with better cards. Kessig Flamebreather is a 2-mana human shaman. It's a 1/3. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this deals 1 damage to each opponent. Cool. We've seen cards like this before. I don't care. Kessig Wolf Rider. It's a 1-mana human knight. I wanted to let that sit there for a second. Wizards had the opportunity to give us a good 1-drop wolf/werewolf, and they didn't. They gave us a human knight, both tribes that are already fine on their own. Here's the thing. Just add the wolf. I understand that most knights don't have the mount in the creature type. But this one matters, man. Sure, it's only a 1/2 with menace. And sure, you have to pay 3 mana and tap it to exile 3 cards from your graveyard and create a single 3/2 red wolf. Still, this art is fantastic. It's not even on a wolf card. Lacerate Flesh. 5 mana, sorcery, deal 4 damage to our creature, create a number of blood tokens equal to the amount of excess damage dealt to that creature. Love the use of excess damage here. You're essentially like you're making them bleed out, like pouring the blood. That's cool. Wish it was on a slightly better card. Lambholt. Raconteur. 4 mana, 2/4. When you cast a non-creature spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. The thing is, non-creature spells typically not what you find in werewolf decks. You're going to be wanting to play a lot of creature decks, or creature cards in werewolf decks. And if you're playing this in a non-creature deck to get this ability, there are better cards that do it. So, it's bad, is what I'm saying. Lightning Wolf. 4 mana, 4/3. Gains first strike until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay. It's a bit weird to me that it doesn't have haste. I don't know why. It feels like this card should have haste, but it doesn't. Also, it's literally being electrocuted. Shut up. Magma Pummeler. I'll admit, when I first saw this card, I did not think Innistrad. I don't recall any other like volcanic cards in Innistrad, unless I'm stupid. I don't know. This card doesn't feel Innistrad to me. Magma Pummeler, X red. It is a battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it. If damage would be dealt to it, while it has a 1/1 counter on it, to prevent that damage and remove that many 1/1 counters. When 1 or more counters are removed from Magma Pummeler this way, it deals that much damage to any target. Notably, you can't just remove counters. For example, with that creature that allowed you to remove counters and destroy enchantments, you can't use it like that. It has to just be damage dealt, which is unfortunate. It does limit it somewhat. But you know, the fact of the matter is, you get to potentially kill 2 things with 1 stone. Sure. Markov Retribution. Jesus. There's a lot of motion in this. 3 mana, sorcery. Choose one or both. Creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Target vampire you control deals combat damage to its... Or, sorry, deals damage. I don't know why I said combat damage. Damage equal to its power to another target creature. Yeah, it's probably good in limited vampire deck. Olivia's attack. Wizards. You are literally killing me. Six mana, 6/6 menace. Whenever Olivia's attendant deals damage, create that many blood tokens. And 3 mana, Olivia's attendant deals 1 damage to any target. I know that is a 6 mana 6/6, but it has menace, and when it deals damage, not to a player, doesn't even have to deal combat damage, which is why this ability is cool. So whenever it deals damage, make that many blood tokens. So if this attacks, you're making 6 blood tokens. I love it. I love all. I mean, you know, I went over to this art because it's fantastic, spectacular. But even the other art, which refuses to come up, the game hates me. Also, just quite good. Oh, cool. Now, of course, sweet, awesome, great. Give it all that glitters. Power and toughness keep doubling. I mean, yes, that is true. Pyre Spawn. 6 mana, 6/4 elemental. When it dies, it deals 3 damage to any target. This card's... Man, 4 toughness on a 6-drop is not what you want to see. Even in limited. Even though it has 3 damage to any target. I don't know. I don't like this card. Maybe it's fine and sealed, but... 2 mana, Reckless Impulse, sorcery. Exile the top 2 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards. It's an impulse draw. I think it's fine. It's a 2 mana impulse draw 2. Cool. Runebound Wolf. It's a 2 mana 2/2. 4 mana tap it, deals damage equal to the number of wolves and werewolves you control to target opponent. What's really nice is that this is not at sorcery speed. It is only a bear, which is fine. But it's a mana sink, so you can pass the turn, make your werewolves bigger, and then dome your opponent still. Like, you're not wasting the turn. So I do like it. It's not good enough, but I do like it. Sanguine Statuettes. 2 mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, create a blood token. Once again, I would like to see this be blood itself. Whenever you sacrifice a blood token, you may have this become a 3/3 vampire artifact creature with haste until end of turn. I don't technically get why it is a vampire. It would make more sense to me if it just becomes a blood artifact token, but... Sensia Uprising. 4 mana enchantment. People are mad. People are really mad. At the beginning of upkeep, at the beginning of your end step, create a 1/1 red human creature token. Then if you control exactly 13 permanents, you may sacrifice this. When you do, it deals 7 damage to any target. This is bad, right? It only deals 7. Like, sure, you're making humans, but you have to have exactly 13. So you need some way of, like, making sure that you can get there. But then you lose the card for 7 damage. It just doesn't seem good. I don't get it, man. Sure Strike's getting a reprint. Pretty cool. Looks like Olivia might be getting a taste of her own medicine. Sure. Voldaren Epicure. I do like this art a little bit better. 1 mana 1/1, enters the battlefield. It deals 1 damage to each opponent. Create a blood token. It's literally a common 1-drop blood token. Sure. Dece. Voltaic Visionary is a human Vizard. 2 mana 3/1 with a tap ability. Makes a little bit of not sense. Voltaic Visionary deals 2 damage to you. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Activate only the sorcery. When you play a card exiled with this, transform. Oh, you can play it, so that's good. When you play a card, you transform it. It just feels weird that it's a 2 mana 3/1 with a tap ability, but whatever. Because it becomes a 4/3 that can't block. So on the backside, they recognize that it's supposed to be an aggressive card, I guess it's still like a 2-mana free one. I guess you could just hit your opponent. Yeah, I'll shut the fuck up. Ascended Pack Leader. Ooh boy. Ooh boy. 1 mana, 2/1 wolf. Enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. If you control a permanent with mana value 4 or greater. Okay. 4 technically is a bit much for a aggro-leaning mid-range deck. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater, put a 1/1 counter on it. I guess? Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's not bad. I'm going to play this card. Like, it's aggressive, right? That's the thing. That's the thing that doesn't really make sense. The body is aggressive. But the abilities aren't really. So it's just kind of confusing, I guess. But like it's still fine. You know, it's a 1 mana 2/1. You can attack with it, so you can get some early damage off. You know, it probably dies early, but who cares? If it doesn't, you know, you play Arlen, you get a counter on this. I think there might be some decent 4-drops now. I mean, the thing is, what's weird is that this card is better in a Brawl deck, where you're gonna have less consistency, which means you're gonna, like, the aggression isn't gonna matter as much. But the body is better in a 60-card deck, a normal, you know, not Brawl 60-card deck, because the body will matter, but the ability won't be as good now. So we have 4-drops in the deck. We like the 4-drops we have, but I do think technically it's better in a Brawl style deck for the abilities, even though it's better for the 1 cost and the 2 power in 60-card. Everbrook Caretaker, though. Oh, baby. 6 mana, 4/4. It's a bit much. Hexproof. Awesome. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put 2 1/1 counters on another target creature you control. The fact that says another target does make me a little sad. However, Hollow Hinge Jumpmaster is a 6/6. Other permanents you control are hexproof. Not just other creatures. Not just other wolves and werewolves. Other permanents you control. And then, at the beginning of combat on your turn, you put 2 1/1 counters on each creature you control. Let me say that again. You put 2 1/1 counters on each creature you control. Again, this card is going to be better for a Brawl version, a Brawl Wolf deck, or a Commander Wolf deck, obviously. I have both. But it is so cool. Love the art on the front side. It's like, hey, I'm just a nice lady who takes care of doggos. And it's like, oh, no, actually, I'm the Huntmaster for this whole area. Don't fuck with me. I love it. Oh yeah, of course, this is like first pick and limited as well. Just like Tovolar's Huntmaster, this has to be first pick and limited. I don't see how it isn't. It has innate removal protection. Its body is not great, but you do functionally get a 6/6 because as long as you play this before combat, you can buff one of your creatures by 2, making it so that the worst body on this card by itself isn't as bad. And then of course, like if this transforms, and you get like one of these triggers off, you're murdering people. I love it. Bramble Armor is a reprint from a set that just happened. Wizards. Don't do this. Well, okay. If this card was good and limited, and they really wanted it back, then I could see that. I don't play limited enough to know. If this card was not played in limited, don't do this. Bramble Worm is a 7 mana, 7/6 reach trample worm. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 5. You can then pay 3, exile it from your graveyard to gain 5. If you're looking for worms that gain 5, okay. Cartographer's Survey. 4 mana sorcery, look at the top 7 cards of your library, put 2 land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This only looks at the top 7. I would be too worried I'd whiff with this card. Like, it feels bad when you whiff with Collected Company, I feel like it'd feel worse if you whiffed with this card. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, it puts them straight into the... Like, they don't have to be basics. It puts them onto the battlefield, so it is ramp. But I think I would rather just play ramp that searches for cards. Like, even the gate one, Circuitous Roots. I think I'd rather just do that. Like, for 4 mana, I'm good, thanks. Cemetery Prowler. Woo! 3 mana. 3/4. 3 mana, 3/4. Vigilance. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, exile a card from a graveyard. Already is a 3 mana, 3/4 with Vigilance that can exile cards from graveyards. Already good card. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each card type they share with cards exiled with Cemetery Prowler. Notably, if you exile 2 creatures, you don't get -2 reduction. That's not how this works. It's for each card type they share. So if you have a creature enchantment, for example, it would cost 2 less. That is the thing that could happen. You exile an Ailsid, your Heliod will cost 2 less. Colorless less. Cool. Awesome. Sweet. Cool. Awesome. So if you exile a single creature, things get technically better. My issue with Prowler is that it's better than the white one. I don't remember. What's the white one again? But yeah, no, this card is pretty sick for wolves. I mean, like, at this point, you might be able to just make a wolf deck. Like, you play this, you play the Flash Wolf on 4. That could even be discounted, which is sick. Like, I don't know, man. This card just seems real strong. It's not seems, it is. It's real strong. It's cool. Very cool. Cloaked Cadet is a really weird card, in my opinion. 5 mana, 2/4 with training. At 5 mana, training does not make much sense. But whenever 1 or more 1/1 counters are put on 1 or more humans you control, draw a card. Triggers only once each turn. Cool, you get to draw a card, but like at 5 mana though. At 5 mana. Cemetery Protector is the white one that I think we talked about the last one, which is why I didn't remember it. 4 mana, 3/4 with flash. Only when it enters the battlefield, exile it. Oh, then it's only whenever you play a land or cast a spell. I mean, I guess the fact that the fact that you can play a land with it, I think is what makes this fine. Right? The other one doesn't do anything with lands. Whereas this, like, literally being able to play lands to get 1/1s is not terrible. Yeah, it's fine. I think they're reasonably similar. Crawling Infestation is not. This is horrifying. 3 mana enchantment at the beginning of your upkeep. You may mill 2 cards. I do like that it's mill. Whenever 1 or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere during your turn, create a 1/1. Triggers only once each turn. I hate this card. I hate this card so much. First of all, right, very beginning. This is beginning of upkeep. This is a 3 mana do nothing card. This does nothing until your next turn. I guess technically if one of your creatures dies, it can give you a 1/1. But you can only ever get 1. It's only 1 each turn. It just makes me sad. It makes me sad. Because this is 1 or more anyway, right? The 1 or more means that if you mill yourself for 5, and you put 5 creatures in the graveyard, you're still only getting 1 insect. Right? If your opponent wipes your board, you're still only getting 1 thing. Sure, it'd be different if, like, I don't know, I guess it would be like infinite sack fodder. Because the token, it doesn't say non-token. Oh wait, it doesn't matter. It says creature cards. So it doesn't even trigger on tokens. Since it says creature cards, it doesn't even trigger on tokens. There's no reason this should be here. This card is so, there's no reason this should be here. It doesn't trigger off of tokens because they're not creature cards, they're just creatures. It doesn't work immediately. I think this card just has too many restrictions, and frankly, I think this is the most egregious one. I think this is the most unnecessary one. I understand why it's like this. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Because of this, it doesn't even do infinite stuff. This is dumb. I hate this card. Crushing Enemy is a reprint with the art of a tree bashing a griff out of the sky. Hilarious. Cultivator Colossus is a 7 mana star plant beast. It's trample. But the thing that's most important here, power and toughness is each equal to the number of lands you control. When it enters the battlefield, you may put a land card from your hand on the battlefield tapped. If you do, draw a card and repeat this process. Do you remember that tree deck that I made a little bit ago? Remember that cool tree deck where I threw trees at people? Yeah, I think I have a new tree to add to that deck. This is nuts. This is so sick. If you wanted, you could also just play this. Like, you don't even have to play it in a deck that necessarily cares about your lands. You could just play this in a Yarok deck, right? You play this in a Yarok deck. It triggers multiple times. So, you know, this triggers twice. You get to put a land in. You get to draw a card. Maybe you draw a land. You put it in. And then, oh no, you didn't draw another land. Who cares? Oh wait, never. It doesn't work because you need the second land. Oh, makes me sad. All right, never mind. I'm stupid. Still, it's a good card. I like it. Shut up. Dawnheart Disciple is a 2-mana 2/2 human warlock. Whenever another human enters the battlefield under control, this gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Meh. Notably, does not work with bounce lands. Really? Oh, okay. Here's why it doesn't work with bounce lands. Right, here's why. Because this ETBs, let's say you put a bounce land into play. You're not done resolving the Cultivator Colossus's trigger. Right? I'm sure many of you who are watching know this already, but for those who don't, you're not done resolving the trigger. So the bounce land's trigger is on the stack. Or, sorry, it's not on the stack. It's waiting to go on the stack. It's not on the stack yet. And then you complete this process until you run out of things, and now you have to return the land to your hand. However, if you're playing this with Yarok, then the bounce land can help you. Because now, you play this, the second trigger goes on, you do the second trigger, you put a bounce land in, it's waiting to go on the stack. You resolve the first one, you haven't drawn any more lands. Now, the bounce land finishes resolving. You put it back in your hands. The first one, the original Cultivator Colossus trigger, resolves. You put the bounce land back in. Trigger, once again, attempts to go on the stack, and you keep doing this. So, in that situation, if you have multiple of the triggers going at the same time, then bounce lands can help. But I'm seeing mostly people just say Abundance, which I believe is a 4-mana enchantment that says whenever you would draw a card, instead say land or non-land, and you go until you reveal one of those cards. If you would draw a card, you may instead choose land or non-land. Reveal cards on the top until you put that card in your hand. Reveal the cards on the bottom of your library. In any order. Interesting. That's cool. Oh wait, what about Ashaya card? I don't think Ashaya makes your creature cards land. I'm pretty sure she just makes your creatures lands. Yeah, this is just creatures. She does not make your creature cards lands. That is a very important difference. Since these are only going to be the creatures. Okay. Yeah, no, never mind. I'm stupid. But yeah. Look, it's a cool card. We all agree it's a cool card. This card, less cool. Flourishing Hunter is a 6-mana wolf spirit. When it enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to the greatest toughness among other creatures you control. Doesn't even, like, why does this not count itself? Would it be too good if it didn't count itself? Oh no, I have a 6-mana 6/6 that enters the battlefield and gains me 6. Would that be too good? Like, I don't get why that has to be there. That makes no sense to me. And because of that, you're out. Glorious Sunrise. 5-mana enchantment. At the beginning of your combat On your turn, choose one. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn. Cool. Target land, just one. Gains add triple until end of turn. Trip green. Draw a card if you control a creature with power 3 or greater. Sure. You gain 3 life. One of these is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. You gain 3 life. I mean, I'm sure there are gonna be some circumstances where that's necessary for you to not die. But my god, it feels way different than these. Draw a card. Awesome. Make your mana awesome. Awesome. Make your creatures strong. Gain 3. It's not even a lot. It's 3. 5 I think would be too much. I definitely think 5 would be too much. I think 4 is fine. Or yeah, Query says just make it so you gain life based on the biggest creature's power or something. Also, why does Catilda look alive in the art? Oh, you mean as opposed to being a spirit? Who knows, man. Stuffs is weird. Hamlet Vanguard. It's a 3-mana. It's a 3-mana dual shield wearing 1/1 with Ward 2. Enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 counters on it for each other non-token human you control. I mean, like in a good scenario, you play turn 1 human, turn 2 human, or 2 humans, but we're just gonna say turn 2 human. Then you play this, and you know, bada bing, bada boom. You get what, +4 counters. It's a 3-mana, 5/5 with Ward 2. Like, that's not terrible. It works with Collected Company, because it'll enter with the additional human. I think it's kind of a boring card to me though. Hive Heart Shaman, on the other hand, is weird. It's a 4-mana 3/5. When it attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card that doesn't share a land type with a land you control. Put that card on the battlefield, then shuffle. Then, 6 mana, create a 1/1 green instant creature token. Put X 1/1 counters on it, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. Activate only as a sorcery. This card is more interesting. This card is kind of cool. Yeah, like you want to be playing, and at minimum, like one of each basic land, so that you can make a 6/6. Oh, it doesn't fly though. That makes me sad. But like this isn't a limited time thing. You're probably playing this in a ramp deck anyway. I like this card. I think this card is really, really cool, really fun, really cool. Hook Hand Mariner. Now, when I first saw this card, I was like, okay, he has a single hook on his hand. Then I flipped it. Spoiler alert. Then I saw he has 2 hooks. And I was like, oh wait, does he have 2 hooks? He has 2 fucking hooks. My man's has no hands. His hands are hooks. Hand hook Cardor. Man, hand hook Cardor. I don't remember the meme exactly. There's also the Hash-Slinging Slasher. Sure. Anyway, 4-mana 4/4 Daybound. That's kind of it, but it's not terrible and limited. 4-mana 4/4, sure. Then it becomes a 6/4. It can be chump blocked. Alright. Howling Moon. 3-mana enchantment. At the beginning of combat in your turn, target wolf or werewolf you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Notably, this is not on their turn. It's each turn. So even if, technically, your opponent doesn't switch it back to day. Because remember, the Daybound, Nightbound stuff, it becomes day only when a player casts 2 spells on their turn. So even if that doesn't happen, you still have a situation in which you're getting a wolf. I love this card. I absolutely love this card. Essentially what it is, like, it helps you be aggressive and defensive. What I mean by defensive isn't like you get to stay on defense, blah, blah, blah. It's just that it's really nice that you get to just say heal when your EDH opponent is just being an asshole. I love this card. I love the enchantments that help the wolf decks. Kind of wish it had flash though. 4 mana, 2/2. This spell can't be countered. 2 mana, tap. You may put a creature card from your hand into the battlefield. If it's a wolf or werewolf, untap this card, activate only as a sorcery. Excuse me? I understand. 4 mana, 2/2. Very small stat line. I understand. I do. I understand. Can't be countered. This is 2 mana. you get to put any creature card onto the battlefield. It does not have to be a wolf or werewolf. It does not leave the battlefield at the end of the turn. Yes, you can only activate this as a sorcery. I understand. However, you can put anything just on the battlefield. And the fact that if it's a wolf, you get to untap this makes it even better. Come here. So what's wrong? Come here. What's wrong? Come here. Come here. The people want to see you. Come here. That's a good cat job. You're okay. You're okay, cat job. You're okay. Lay down. Lay down. You're okay. Anyway. Yeah, really cool. You essentially can not you can put wolves into play without casting a spell so that you get to flip things. The sadness is whenever this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into this, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand, put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. The issue here is that this is a card that wants to flip back and forth, which is kind of strange. It's not like on attack, it's when it transforms or ETBs. It's very strange. It's just very, very, very strange. I still like the card in general. I have to play. This is a card I have to play with it to really determine if it's good or not. Cat job. Cat job. You're okay. You're okay. You want to meow for the people? Meow. Okay, okay. What's wrong? I fed you earlier. You should still have food. What? She gets really annoyed when I'm on my computer this long. Infestation Expert is a 5-mana 3/4 human werewolf. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. Really creepy. Turns into a 4/5. Enters the battlefield or attacks, create 2 1/1 green creature tokens. It's hideous. I kind of dig it though. It's probably not good enough, but I do like it. Query says I actually like having a werewolf card that's better on Dayside. That's true. That actually makes a lot of sense. I can get behind that because then like it's not as like you don't feel as bad when it's Dayside. Yeah, I understand that. That makes sense. 4-mana enchantment. Whenever a human you control dies, draw a card. Humans suck. Whenever a creature you control with +1/+1 counter on it dies, you gain 2 life. Whatever. Humans ain't. Moldgraph Millipede is a 5-mana 2/2 insect horror. When it enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards, then put a 1/1 counter on Moldgraph Millipede for each creature card in your graveyard. This essentially is just that Golgari mechanic, whose name I can't remember right now. Whatever. Doesn't matter. This card's not good. Mulch. Mulch is being reprinted. It's 2-mana sorcery. Reveal top 4 cards of the library, put all land cards, reveal this way into your hand, put the rest in your graveyard. It's a real cool way to get a lot of lands in your hand. I might play this in the tree deck because Ren and 7 likes when you put lands in your hands. It's interesting. Nature's Embrace. 3-mana enchant creature or land. If the enchanted permanent is a creature, it gains +2/+2. If it's a land, it gets add 2 mana of any color. I love this card. This is just like, you know, Gift of Paradise or that style of 3 mana, make your land better. But this also can make your creature better. I love the flexibility on this card. It's really cool. Oakshade Stalker. My man's creepy. 3 mana, 3/3. You may cast a spell though as flash if you pay 2 more to cast it. So 5 mana, 3/3, 3/3. Sure, whatever. I want to note that once again, it gains no toughness. This card's bad. It doesn't. It's a 3 toughness card. It dies to everything. No. I'm never played this. It's bad. I guess maybe. I mean, it is a 3/3 on the front side. I guess. If you need this card unlimited for your wolves to get the critical mass, sure. I hate it. Paxong Pup, though, is a 2-mana 1/1 at the beginning of combat on your turn. If you control another wolf or werewolf, put a 1/1 counter on this. Then when it dies, you gain life equal to its power. I only care about the fact that this is a card that scales when you have at least one other wolf or werewolf, which should not be difficult. I like this card. This is like one of the reasons to play the 1-mana wolf, because then you can play the 1-mana wolf on turn 2. You play this. Hopefully you still have the 1-mana wolf, and then it gets bigger. It becomes a 2/2, and on the following turn, you're probably going to at least have a 3-drop wolf, even if the first one died. Make it bigger. You know, I think this card's kind of cool. Reclusive Taxidermist. It's a 2-mana 1/2 human druid. It's a little dark for being a druid, but alright. Reclusive Taxidermist gets +3/+2 as long as there are 4 more creature cards in your graveyard. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. So what's nice about this card, what I think is really cool about this card, is the fact that early game, you're allowed to kind of play your creatures with this card. You know, you get to essentially use it as ramp, right? Then eventually your creatures are going to die and stuff, whatever. It becomes a 4/4, which is not bad. Like, late game, this card's not terrible. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this was played in some sort of constructed deck. What happens if it's both? Oh. That's a good question. What happens if it's both? Because it says as long as, it gets both. It gets both. If you put this on a Dryad Arbor, it will be a Dryad Arbor that is a 3/3 that can also add 2 mana of any color. Of any one color. Yeah, if it's both, yes. If it turns from one into the other, I'm pretty sure it just changes. Since it can enchant both, there's no point, I think, that it falls off. So Retrieve. 3 mana, return up to 1 target card and up to 1 target non-creature permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. 1 target creature card and then 1 non-creature permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Exile Retrieve. It's like a different style of regrowth. I still like regrowth better because it's 2 mana, but Rural Recruit. It's a 4 mana human peasant. That's 1/1. Tisk tisk. It's training. Okay, sure. When it enters the battlefield, create a 3/1 green boar creature token. This is awesome. My man's comes with a pig. The longer he trains with the pig, the better he gets. Also, this card goes ham. I'm sorry. Sawblade Slinger. 4 mana 4/3 human archer. Apparently slinging saw blades now. Whenever it enters the battlefield, choose one when it enters, whatever. Destroy target artifact an opponent controls, or Sawblade Slinger fights target zombie an opponent controls. My thing is, this is an archer. Why is this fight? Like, deadass. Why does this fight? Shouldn't this just be Sawblade Slinger deals damage equal to his power to a zombie an opponent controls? I do not understand why this fights. It is a archer that shoots out of a fucking giant crossbow thing Sawblades. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I mean, I don't really just understand the destroy artifact part either. I guess it's like she's sawing up the artifact with her thing. Sure. Balance reasons. Balance reasons. It kills those. It only hits zombies, man. Like, and only zombies your opponents control. Sheltering Bows. 3 mana. Enters battlefield, draw a card. Chain creature gets +1/+3. This card at least replaces itself in limited. Snarling Wolf. 1 mana, 1/1. You can pay 2 mana. It's a reprint of a card that isn't used. So, Spiked Ripsaw. We have chainsaws. It's 3 mana equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+3. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you may sacrifice a forest. If you do that, creature gains trample. Look, when you need trample, sack your forest. I don't get the flavor behind sacking the forest to gain specifically trample. I don't know, I feel like Menace would make a little bit more sense. Because, like, you're felling the tree and it's, like, scaring the opponent or something. I don't know. It just feels weird that it's specifically trample. Splendid Reclamation. It's a reprint from Eldritch Moon. Know what I'd rather have? The entirety of Eldritch Moon. You get to return all your lands from your grave to the battlefield tap. That's cool. But, meh. Spore Crawler. It's a fungus. It's a 3/2, it's a 3 mana 3/2 fungus. When it dies, draw a card. Will this revitalize the fungus archetype? I doubt it. Sporeback Wolf, though. 2 mana, 2/2 Wolf. As long as it's your turn, it has +0/+2. It is a wolf that has a little bit extra. It's not good enough. Toxic Scorpion. 2 mana, 1/1 Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, another target creature you control gains Death Touch until end of turn. I mean, you can put this in Death Touch Tribal. The second ability will be useless, but... Wait, also, Death Touch... For my experience, Death Touch typically is better on defense. I mean, I guess, like, I guess if you have a creature that you don't want to be blocked, you can put Death Touch on it, but, like, then you're... Essentially, this is like saying, hey, opponent, you can either kill this creature, like, to trade, or just let it through, like, once. I don't know. I don't like it. Ulvenwald Oddity. It's a 4 mana 4/4 trample haste beast with the Eldritch Moon transformed ability, which is just paying mana for it. Other creatures you control get +1/+1 and have trample and haste, and it becomes a beast horror. So I think that this is meant to be an homage to Eldrazi wolves, and it is horrifying. Don't get me wrong. And it becomes an 8/8, which is pretty cool. But I want more beasts that are 5/5s, or at least 5 power, so that my L can get some love, please, Wizards, please. It's a cool card. I like it. It's not Questing Beast, which is unfortunate, but you know, it has upside. It's cool. It's cool. I think it's cool. You know, it's cool. Weaver of Blossoms. It's a 3 mana 2/3. Add 1 mana of any color. Becomes a Blossomclad Werewolf. It's a 3/4. Add 2 mana of any one color. This is very similar to the OG Little Red Riding Hood, whose name I can't recall, but she was a 2 mana wolf that added a mana. But I think she only added green. I'm pretty sure she only added green, and on the backside she added 2 green. She added green. So this costs a little bit more. Has way more power and toughness. I'm pretty sure the 2 mana one was only a 1/1. And this technically mana fixes. But I don't think you need this card. I don't think you need it. Maybe it's fine in like the 100 card formats where you're playing more of those 5/6 drops. Witch's Web. 2 mana instant, target creature gets +2/+3, gains reach and untap it. That's real good. I mean, this is a real good combat trick in limited. Like, obviously, you can just use it to give pseudo vigilance to one of your creatures. On attacking, you know, you buff it if it already has trample. This is a good buff for it. Obviously, on defense, the fact that you gain reach means you can block pretty much anything. Again, the +3 is really good. It also means that since you're untapping something, you can attack kind of all out, and your opponent's like, okay, I can kill you on the crackback. I don't know why you attacked with that. They attack with everything. You untap something, you make it so that you don't die, and then bada bing, bada boom, you've tabled the turns, and now you can kill them on the crackback. It's really cool. Love the card. Wolf Strike. 3 mana instant. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. If it's night, then it deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. I'm a little sad that it has to be night, but I think the idea behind this card, right, the idea here is you have a board of some wolves, or some werewolves, I should say. You just pass the turn. It becomes night. Cool. Then you can use this as removal. It's fine. It's fine. It's 3 mana. Don't love it, but, you know, it's whatevs. Wolfkin Outcast. My man's already looking like a wolf out here. 6 mana, 5/4. This spell costs 2 less to cast if you control a wolf or werewolf, which means it's, instead of 6 mana, it's 4 mana. 4 mana, 5/4, I guess. But it turns into Wedding Crasher. A terrible movie with Owen Wilson and Seth, something Vaughn. It's not Chris Vaughn. Vince Vaughn. Whenever it or another wolf or werewolf you control dies, draw a card. The thing is, right, the backside's not terrible. The backside's not terrible. Being able to draw more cards in a deck like this is always nice. The thing is, like, how frequently is this going to be a 6 mana card? Because if it's frequent, it's bad. Ancient Lumberknot. It's a 4 mana 1/4. Each creature you control with toughness greater than its power assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. What's cool about this is that it's based on which is better, right? Which is higher. And I think that's very important, right? Sometimes you're going to have creatures that aren't going to be higher, and it's not going to matter. It's cool. I like it. More Doran stuff. Blood Tithe Harvester, 2 mana, 3/2, enters the battlefield, create a blood token, sacrifice this. The Harvester, target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is twice the number of blood tokens you control. Activate only as a sorcery. Man, I don't know about this one. Like, it's decent. Like, it's decently costed. It's a 2 mana, 3 power creature. That's totally fine. It comes in with a blood token. You can sacrifice it if you really need to. And you deal twice. That's not nothing. If you have 2, that's -4/-4. That's pretty good by itself. I don't know. It's probably fine. I have to like actually try and make the deck first. Brian Comer is a 3 mana 1/1 spirit. When it enters the battlefield or becomes the target of an aura spell specifically, create a 1/1 spirit with flying, and then it becomes a gift. Brandbound gift. When it enters the battlefield or enchanted creature becomes target of an aura spell, create a 1/1 blah blah blah. Yeah. So notably, this does not give it 2 spirits immediately because when it is targeting the creature doesn't currently have the thing. It's cool. This is one of my favorite cards in this whole set. It's Little Red Riding Hood. In my opinion, it's an amazing card for Werewolf Tribal. It's a 4 mana 2/5. Already right there, it has decent toughness. Right, it's a total of 7 stats for 4 mana. Typically, technically speaking, you want 8 stats. You want stats like to be double the mana cost essentially. So like a bear is a 2 mana 4/4. Or sorry, it's a 2 mana 2/2, which is 4 total. That's kind of the baseline. But in certain configurations, you're fine with it. But also, it has just 4 mana, make a wolf. And the reason this is so good is that it allows you, once again, to pass the turn, to make it night, while still adding to your board. Additionally, it's just straight up a mana sink. Even if you're casting a spell, you can make a wolf. If you have a lot of mana, make multiple wolves. It's awesome. But that's just the front side. The back side makes it so that it has trample, and other creatures you control get +1/+0 and trample. So all those wolves you made, they're now 3/2s with trample, off and die. I'm a little sad that on the backside she doesn't have this ability, but as Curry pointed out earlier, it's actually kind of fine to have a front side that is different, that has something that you want to be using, because that will make it the backside, and then the backside is pretty sick. I love this card. Edgar, Charmed Groom. God damn. It was way more evil here. 4 mana 4/4, other vampires you control get +1/+1. Cool. Vampire Lord. Awesome. Love it. When it dies, return to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Interesting. At the beginning of your upkeep... Wait, what? That's strange. Is this weird diamond thing? Is this one different? No, this is still a circle. Interesting. Anyway, comes back as the coffin. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 white and black vampire creature token with a lifelink and put a bloodline counter on Edgar. Then if there are 3 or more bloodline counters on it, remove those counters and transform it. It's cool. I love this card. It's a really good commander for Vampire Tribal. When it dies, you technically just don't have to put it back in the command zone as long as you're able to get some bloodline counters on it. You can again speed this up with some proliferate shenanigans. Yeah, it's cool. I like it. Apparently, I double clicked on Edgar. Ruth? It's Ruth. Tormented Prophet. Good, this one. 3 mana, 2/4. If you would draw a card, exile the top 2 cards of your library instead, you may play those cards this turn. This is a combo card waiting to happen. Like, this card is going to be nuts or garbage, depending on the mind that created the deck. Kaya, Geist Hunter. It's a 3 mana, 3 loyalty walker, +1, creatures you control gain death touch until end of turn. Put a 1/1 counter on up to 1 target creature token you control. It's unfortunate that it has to be creature token. Once again, I prefer this. I prefer the different art of Kaya, but whatever. -2. Until end of turn, if 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. Mobile Anointed Procession. -6, exile all cards from all graveyards. Then create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying for each card exiled. Not each creature card, just each card. Now, this is not a this is not an ultimate that immediately wins the game. But it's pretty cool. Get your creature's death touch. And if they're creature tokens, like they're typically going to be like 1/1s, maybe 2/2s. Making them bigger and giving them death touch, I think is pretty good. I like this card. She doesn't immediately protect herself, which is bad for planeswalkers, but she can come down early, so maybe it's fine. Woo! Markov Purifier is a 3-mana 2/3 lifelink vampire. Again, I like this one better. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. This is just that that white enchantment, but better, because it feeds itself, right? You don't have to pay 4 mana to make a 1/1 white creature with lifelink. Instead, this is just a 3-mana 2/3 with lifelink that gives you the sick ability to draw a card for 2 mana. You'll like it. It's a cleric, it's a vampire, it has lifelink. For all of those things matter. A bunch of different decks care about those things. Markov Waltzer is a 4-mana 1/3 flying haste vampire. At the beginning of combat on your turn, up to 2 target creatures you control each get +1/+0. So essentially, dancing apparently on Innistrad gives +1. Because we've seen other like dancey cards that do this. It's a 4-mana card that attacks as a 2/3 and gives one of your other creatures a buff. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, you play this fine in limited. Odric, Bloodcursed. People are upset, and it makes sense. It's 3 mana for a 3/3. Sure. It's fine. It's a vampire soldier. Sure. Whatever. When it enters the battlefield, create X blood tokens, where X is the number of abilities from among this, found among creatures you control. There's so many problems with this card. 1, this is only on ETB. So you can't play more creatures later that have more abilities to get more tokens. Sure, balancing reasons, whatever. It doesn't have its own ability. It doesn't have First Strike. Doesn't have, Death Touch. So it's a vampire now. Maybe it would have lifelink. This card is not objectively bad. This card is just not. I don't know. It's not that any one aspect of this card is bad, in my opinion. It's that the overall card doesn't work. And a big reason for that is the character of Odric. For what it's worth, I think most of Odric's cards are kind of bad. I mean, this one has First Strike. I mean, actually, this card's fine. This card's pretty good. And this one just shares the creature, the ability, right? Yeah, creatures you control gain abilities if you have a single one of those creatures with that ability. This is a one-off thing. Right? Mark Roser has even recognized how many people have been upset by this card. And apparently is going to be taking that into consideration moving forward, which is good. I appreciate the proposed vigilance there. It's just this card's very disappointing. Old Rustine. So 3 mana, 1/4, human peasant. When it enters the battlefield, or at the beginning of your upkeep, mill a card. If a land is milled this way, create a treasure. If a creature is milled this way, create a 1/1 insect. If a non-creature, non-land is milled this way, create a blood token. The card's weird. I don't know how to use this card. Also, this has big, what are you buying energy, and I'm not comfortable with that right now. So Guardian Paladin is a 4 mana 4/4 human knight with no mount, but whatever. As long as you've put one or more 1/1 counters on a creature this turn, so Guardian Paladin has Trample and Lifelink. Cool. For 3 mana, target creature you control with a 1/1 counter gains Trample and Lifelink until end of turn. So if you put a 1 counter on her, that first turn, you get Trample and Lifelink on her. Cool. After that, you don't have to necessarily put 1/1 counters on her. You can just give her Trample and Lifelink until end of turn. It's an interesting card. A 4 mana 4/4 with upside. It's a knight. Unfortunately, we don't have enough knight support, I don't think, on Arena. But it's interesting, I guess. I'm mostly sad because I really like knights. But knights have not good support. In green, specifically. Like, there's obviously, like, the Mardu knights. But I just feel like the green knights have gotten a little shafted. I don't know. I'll take another look. I really do like the green-white knights. Skull Scab. Yes, there are many skulls here. In fact, it looks like there are skulls on its fucking fists. 2 mana, 2/2, zombie. Exploit. Whenever a creature you control exploits a non-token creature, create a black zombie creature. This card is sick. Because it doesn't have to be this card. It's whenever a creature you control exploits a non-token creature. So essentially, play some cards that want to be sacrificed, sacrifice them, benefit. Awesome card, love it. Vile Spawn Spider is a green-blue reach 2/3. At the beginning of your upkeep, mill card. Already, stat line, pretty good. It's 2 mana, 2/3, reach. And you mill a card. Pay 2 green-blue, tap it, sack it. Create a 1/1 green insect creature token for each creature card in your graveyard. Activate only as a sorcery. Sure, it's still fine. Still good. This card's interesting. I mean, I like it. I don't know where it's going to go, but I like it. Wandering Mind. I don't like this. I mean, I'm into Lovecraftian horror, but like, what the f is this, man? 3 mana, 2/1 flying horror. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them, put it in your hand, put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Now, the thing is, not only is this card horrifying, it also seems like it might be really strong. But I legitimately don't know, right? Like, you have to look at the top 6. You have to reveal a non-creature, non-land. Oh no, dude, you're playing blue-red with a flying 2/1. You're probably playing some nonsense. I just feel like this is going to lead to nonsense. Blood Servitor is a construct. Again, it looks like it's made out of blood. I think it should have been blood construct. It's a 3 mana 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, create a blood token. That or make it so, like, it's when it enters or dies. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Please, my friends, help yourself to the help. Like, this is obviously blood. Why isn't it blood? I'm sad. Boarded Window. Horrifying. Utterly horrifying. 3 mana. Artifact. Creatures attacking you get -1/-0. At the beginning of each end step, if you were dealt 4 or more damage this turn, exile Boarded Window. Now, the idea is a creature big enough, or a number of creatures, a number large enough of creatures, have broken through your window, right? I don't exactly understand why it's exiled instead of just destroyed. Whatever. But when you have multiple of these, it's going to be harder for your opponent to do that, which is pretty funny. It's not good. I'm not going to make a deck like that. But maybe, if someone was so inclined. Ceremonial Knife. 1 mana, equip 2. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has whenever this creature deals combat damage, create a blood token. I'm hoping that there are enough other blood token creators that I don't have to put this in the deck, because I don't like when the equip cost is 2 and it costs 1. I would much rather see 2 mana to cast and 1 to equip. But Dollhouse of Horrors is a 5 mana artifact. Pay 1, tap it, exile a creature card from your graveyard. This is cleaner. Exile a creature card from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of that exiled card, except it is a 0/0 construct artifact in addition to its other types, and it has this creature has +1/+1 for each construct you control. It gains haste until end of turn. Notably, you don't lose the creature. That's cool. And it works nicely with other constructs. The thing is, it has to be from your graveyard. But if you're playing a deck with a lot of other constructs, I mean, like, are there any good constructs? Format. Historic. Type. Construct. I mean, there's this. There's Chief of the Foundry. I'm skipping over things that I don't think would make sense in the deck. But there's Gearhulk, there's Chief. I guess there's like all the Gearhulks. Pummeler's not terrible. Foundry Inspector's not terrible. Maybe. Yes. Oh wait, no, right. I'm stupid because. Yeah, it's a 0/0. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see if this. I don't see how this card could be good. It is horrifying. Oh no. Oh, okay. The longer I look at this, the more horrifying it becomes. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. We have some weird dolls and something on the floor, and there's like, oh, these are blades. These are razor blades. And then I looked over here. That's an eye. Foreboding Statue. 3 mana, 1/2, artifact construct. Add 1 mana of any color, put an omen counter on Foreboding Statue. At the beginning of your end step, if there are 3 or more omen counters, untap it, transform it. It's transformed into Forsaken Thresher. It's a 5/5. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add 1 mana of any color. I mean, yeah, it becomes a better creature, but it becomes a worse mana producer. Because, like, before you could make this mana whenever. Now it's on upkeep. Or, sorry, it's on pre-combat main. Like, what the F? Honored Heirloom is a 3 mana artifact, add a mana of any color, 2 tap, exile a target card from a graveyard. Sure, this is 3 mana, Prismacolor artifact with upside. It's as good as the other ones are. Lantern of the Lost is a very interesting one. It's 1 mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, exile target card from a graveyard. Then 1 and tap, exile Land of the Lost, exile all cards from all graveyards, then draw a card. Because these two things are like attached, it is a little bit harder to get incremental value. You lose your cards as well. So it's whatever. Yeah, kind of a weak way to end. I guess, you know what, I'll go through and talk about my favorite cards in each color. So in white, a lot of cool, interesting things. I do, actually, I'm a lot higher on this card than I was initially when I first saw it. I think, though, that my favorite card in white, God, I forgot this card was pretty cool. My favorite card in white has to be Hallowed Haunting, just because of my Decklist deck. It's really, really fun, really cool card. Just make a lot of enchantment creature, spirit, cleric things. In blue, oh, I know what it is in blue. Where are you at? Where are you at? I mean, Necroduality is very close, but Overcharged Amalgam, I love it. Like, F you, countering one of your spells, and I'm playing a creature deck. Love that. In black, I assume it's going to be a zombie of some kind. I do like the demon. I like Graph Reaver, though. I like Headless Rider, though. Oh, man. I do like Taco, but I don't like him that much. Man, this is not fair. I think for black, I do like Soren. I think for black, oh man, I think I'm gonna go with. I'm going with the Reaver. I'm going with the Reaver. It's a little bit more aggressive. Love the card. Red. This card doesn't exist. I know, Ketchups. I know. It's okay. I like the Ill-Tempered Loner. That might be it, actually. Because I really like that nonsense deck. Okay, yeah, I think my favorite in red is the Loner. In green, I mean, it's hard to say no to Averbrook Caretaker, dude. Even with Prowler, it's really hard to say no to Caretaker. In fact, I'm just gonna call it now. It's Caretaker. Yeah, it's definitely Caretaker. And multicolored, it's probably Child of the Pack. I really like Runa though. Oh man, it's Child of the Pack when Runo is so close. Artifacts. I technically don't care about any of them. I'll go with Investigator's Journal, I guess, because it's a clue. Lands. I'm just going to go with the creepiest one, and I think the creepiest one is Shattered Sanctum. Now, unfortunately, my cat's freaking out, and I feel like I might pass out. So, I think I need to end the stream. I might be on later tonight on Twitch, playing some spooky, scary games, and or Magic. But I gotta bounce. Because I think I need to chill. My body is telling me no, and my mind is telling me no. So I hope all of you have had a good time watching the rest of this. I will be putting some decks together on Aether Hub. I will likely be talking about those decks in the near future. But for right now, I gotta leave before I die. Goodbye, everybody.